With nowhere else to turn, I took over my grandmother's small restaurant. Little did I know, the restaurant was eerily quiet during the day but turned into a scene straight out of an apocalyptic world at night. Not only was it bitterly cold, with temperatures plunging to -70 or 80 degrees, but it was also overrun with hordes of zombie-like creatures. Just when all hope seemed lost, the door to the restaurant was pushed open. A young girl, dressed in tattered winter clothes and looking utterly exhausted, stepped in. She looked around in amazement at the warm, spring-like atmosphere of the restaurant and timidly asked me, "Is this heaven?" I replied, "This is a restaurant." She swallowed hard and asked, "Do you have anything to eat? Even stale bread or crumbled biscuits would do." After thinking for a moment, I pulled out a packet of instant noodles from the cupboard. "How about some pickled cabbage flavor? Would you like some?" The pre-packaged meals that everyone despised in my world became a hot commodity in this frozen apocalypse. "This is heavenly. I haven't tasted anything this delicious in so long," exclaimed the girl. "Even if I were to die after this warm soup, I'd die happy." The energy cores they gave me in return, which I handed over to the government, turned out to be an important energy resource. Not only did I receive a hefty reward, but I also inadvertently became a pillar of the nation. I hid under the cash register, shivering with fear. For 3 days now, each night, my small restaurant and I were transported into this terrifying world. Outside, it was so cold that even breathing formed chunks of ice, and packs of zombies roared menacingly, keeping me from sleeping. After my parents passed away, my relatives swindled me out of my money and kicked me out. My roommate, jealous over a romantic interest, schemed to have me expelled from school. My younger sister, blinded by money, even tried to sell me off when I was at my lowest. That's when I inherited this small restaurant from my grandmother's estate. Over these 3 days, I realized that the bitter cold couldn't penetrate the restaurant. The zombies could howl all they wanted, but they couldn't enter. By day, the restaurant magically returned to the real world. I was scared, but this was the only place I could call home. If I left, I would truly have nowhere to go. As I was pondering, the wind chime at the restaurant's door rang, signaling that the door had been opened. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be a zombie? As I trembled, a timid female voice came from the door. "It's not cold at all here, a living person." I cautiously poked my head out and saw the young girl in tattered winter clothes, looking around the restaurant in wonder. Seeing me, she exclaimed with a look of joy, "Is this heaven?" I hesitated for a moment, then shook my head. "No, this is a restaurant." The girl swallowed hard. "A restaurant, huh? Do you sell any food here? I'll take anything, even stale biscuits or dry bread. I've been hungry for 2 days, having read countless novels." I quickly realized that this young girl might be a survivor of this frozen apocalypse. I hesitated, then pulled out a packet of instant noodles from the cupboard. "Old tank pickled cabbage flavor. Would you like some?" The girl nodded excitedly. I turned and went into the kitchen, skillfully lighting the stove and boiling water. After cooking the noodles in the water, I drained half of the water and added the seasoning packet. 5 minutes later, the spicy, sour, and salty aroma wafted from the kitchen to the girl's nostrils. She took a deep breath. Surprised, she exclaimed, "What is this? It smells so good." I brought the steaming bowl of noodles to the little girl and said with a smile, "This is Old Vat pickled vegetable noodles." The restaurant is a bit simple, and there isn't much to choose from, so I hope this is okay for you." The little girl treasured it like a precious find. She first carefully sipped the soup, then incredulously widened her eyes. "This tastes so good. I've never had soup like this before." The cold I felt outside just vanished with one sip. Then she picked up a chopstick full of noodles and chewed them slowly. After a moment, her eyes widened in amazement. "Oh my gosh, these noodles are delicious. They're sour and spicy. Really appetizing." After saying that, she began to devour the noodles. For a while, the small restaurant was filled with the sound of her slurping noodles. My thoughts began to drift away. The small restaurant left by my grandmother is located in a little town. The town has a small population, mostly elderly and children, who are reluctant to spend money on dining out. Moreover, my cooking skills are mediocre. I can only make simple dishes. Therefore, I've been running the restaurant for half a month now. These pickled vegetable noodles were actually my first business transaction, and I might not even get paid for it. After all, what can one expect in an apocalypse? Zombies. The thought alone is frightening. While I was lost in thought, the little girl had quickly finished her noodles, even licking the bowl clean. She burped with immense satisfaction and then blushed. "I'm sorry. It was just too delicious. I got a bit too excited." "Fairy sister, thank you. Having eaten this bowl of noodles, even if I die at the hands of zombies, I'll die content." I quickly snapped back to reality and waved my hands. "Don't talk like that. You need to live well and come back for more." It was a casual, polite remark, but the little girl's eyes suddenly shone brighter than the stars. "Really, fairy sister, will this place still be here in the future?" Seeing her gaze, I felt a surge of responsibility. As long as it's here, I will keep it running. The little girl needed to return to her base to complete a mission, and as for my restaurant having the secret ability to travel through time, I dare not let anyone know about it. Who knows what could happen? So, after chatting for a while, I waved goodbye to her. As soon as I sent her off, I regretted it. There were no ingredients left in the restaurant. My grandmother had only left me a little over 1,000 yuan. During this half month, I've bought some rice, eggs, and instant food. The money and ingredients are hardly enough to keep running the restaurant, but thinking of what Luna, the little girl, said, I gritted my teeth. Luna is 16 this year. Since her birth, the world has been a frozen apocalypse. They sustain themselves on nutrient fluids. Food is an incredible luxury for them. The old vat pickled vegetable noodles, disliked by many in our world, might be something she could never taste again in her life. Thinking this, I grit my teeth. I could always get a part-time job to earn some money. I could afford instant noodles. Exhausted, I began clearing the table and saw 3 stones emitting a moonwhite glow. They must have been left by Luna. I wasn't sure if they were meant as payment for the meal. I'll ask her next time she comes. Good news, in the frozen apocalypse, there are very few living people out at night, so I won't go broke quickly. Bad news, I wait for Luna. I waited for 3 days straight. My dark circles got noticeably worse. At 3 a.m. on the 4th day, just as I was yawning and about to go to bed, the wind chimes rang again. Luna's voice, full of excitement, carried in with the cold wind. See, I told you I wasn't lying. This restaurant really does exist. She had a look of bliss on her face. Fairy sister, I'm so glad you're here. My friends didn't believe me. Please let them try the pickled vegetable noodles, she whispered in my ear. They are quite wealthy, carrying a lot of orange and green tier crystal cores. I told them to give them all to you. I looked at the 3 young people following Luna in surprise. They were all around 15 or 16. One of them said disdainfully to Luna, You're just inexperienced. I've eaten everything good you can think of. My dad is a military commander. He brings me lots of goodies every year. I've even had sausages before. But this restaurant is pretty magical. It feels as warm as spring when you walk in. You must spend a lot of crystal cores on heating, right? Come on, bring out the pickled vegetable noodles now. We're not short on money. With that, they waved their hands, displaying 3 orange glowing stones. I took out the 3 white crystal cores Luna gave me yesterday. Is this what you call a crystal core? Luna nodded. Yes, crystal cores are the hard currency here, not only used for trading, but they also contain energy, she said, looking embarrassed. I'm quite poor, only having the lowest white tier crystal cores. Don't mind me, fairy sister. Once I kill more zombies, I'll get higher tier cores and give them all to you. I felt a soft spot in my heart. Thank you, but be sure to stay safe. I then turned to the 3 people by the dining table, 2 men and a woman, all dressed in better protective gear than Luna, probably quite wealthy. I figured out the remaining instant noodles, only 2 packets, definitely not enough, so I said, the restaurant's menu is decided by me daily. Today, it's egg fried rice with ham. Would you like some? Egg fried rice is more filling and costs less. I even generously added a sausage. To my surprise, the taller boy immediately frowned. Luna said the pickled vegetable noodles were delicious. We want that. The shorter boy added, I've had sausage before. It was bitter, astringent, and moldy, tasted like rotten zombie meat. How could anything made from it be tasty? The girl hesitated, then advised, if the owner has set rules, we should follow them. This egg fried rice should taste good too. Since we're here, let's give it a try. I looked emotionlessly at the 2 boys. Honestly, I didn't feel like serving them from the moment they walked in, so I said coldly, if you're not eating, then leave. They slammed the table in anger. What kind of attitude is that? Do you know who my dad is, and you dare talk back? The table shattered with the impact. I immediately regretted it. What if I can't fight them off? Just as they were about to come over and teach me a lesson, they suddenly vanished into thin air. Then, a new note appeared at the reception, small restaurant rules. The rules set by the manager are absolute. No one may refuse or harm the manager, otherwise, they will be randomly teleported outside the restaurant to any location. Meanwhile, in a deep, boundless jungle, numerous strange beasts surged. Suddenly, the 2 boys dropped out of nowhere. The dormant mythical beasts suddenly became restless. As soon as the 2 left, the restaurant quieted down. A few seconds later, Luna looked at me admiringly and exclaimed, Wow, fairy sister, you are so amazing. I only invited Jocelyn, but they overheard me talking and insisted on coming along. They usually act so high and mighty at the base, I didn't dare refuse them. Sorry for the mess they made at your table. Feeling guilty, I found it hard to blame her. I then turned and asked, would you like some egg fried rice with ham? Luna immediately responded, yes, I trust Fairy Sister's cooking skills. I smiled, turned around, and headed into the kitchen, back when I was dependent on others. My aunts never left any food for me. As a result, my skills at making fried rice are top-notch. I heated the oil, cracked 2 eggs into the pan, scrambled them, and added a pinch of salt for flavor. Then I added the ham, frying it until it darkened before tossing in the leftover cold rice from the afternoon. After stirring the rice well, I sequentially added oyster sauce and more salt. When it was ready to serve, I sprinkled a handful of green onions on top. The rice grains were distinct, the eggs golden and enticing, and the ham deliciously fragrant. The combination of these 3 ingredients emitted an irresistible aroma under the glossy sheen of oil. I served them each a full bowl using a soup bowl. "The food's ready, come and get it," I announced. As soon as I finished speaking, Luna leapt up excitedly. "Yay, I could smell it while you were cooking. It smells even better than the sauerkraut noodles from yesterday." Jocelyn, who was initially more reserved, now gazed at the bowl of fried rice with sparkling eyes. "What is this? It smells so good. Just the smell is making me drool. Are you really going to let us eat all this?" I smiled and said, "Go ahead, it's all yours." With my approval, they started eating eagerly, almost burying their heads into their bowls. In the narrow restaurant, all that could be heard were their swallowing sounds. A few minutes later, they stopped, sighing with satisfaction. I glanced at them. Even the oil at the bottom of the bowls was licked clean. I've lived for 15 years, and this is the first time I've tasted something so delicious. The rice is so soft, and the eggs so tender, even better than yesterday's sauerkraut noodles. They say the ham is like rotten zombie meat, but the ham fairy sister cooked is so fragrant and tender, I could almost swallow my tongue. This kind of divine delicacy. And we got to eat a whole bowl of it. Feels like a lifetime's worth. They were getting more and more extravagant with their praise. I quickly, with a laugh and a cry, interrupted them. "All right, it's getting late. My little shop closes at 7 in the morning. You should hurry on your way." They thanked me profusely, looking at me as if I were a savior. As they left, they even gave me 5 white crystal cores in addition to the 3 orange ones left by the 2 guys from earlier. The next day, I slept until noon, after getting up. Recalling how they had heartily enjoyed their meal, I made myself a bowl of egg fried rice. Eating, I considered the remaining ingredients. There were still 6 eggs and about 5 kilograms of rice left. I'm down to just 2 packets of instant noodles, 4 sausages, and some vegetables, with barely over 300 yuan left in my account. At this rate, I can't even sustain myself, let alone keep my small diner running. The burst of ambition I felt last night to save the world has suddenly deflated. I must find a part-time job in the city. Fortunately, the city isn't far from this small town. There's an old bicycle at the restaurant. Panting, I rode for an hour and finally reached the city. After checking with 3 recruitment agencies, my hopes were dashed. Jobs are hard to come by. My schedule doesn't allow for a regular 9-to-5 job. I want to keep my shop open till the end of these icy days, and I can't work night shifts. Just as I was feeling down, a Mercedes suddenly stopped in front of me. The window rolled down to reveal a face with immaculate makeup. "Stella, looking for a job." She glanced at the recruitment building behind me and sneered. "Didn't find one. How about you bark like a dog, and I'll let you clean at my company." Before she could finish, the guy in the passenger seat said impatiently, "Don't bother with this loser, let's go." Seeing them sparked a fire in me. One was my roommate Scarlett, the other my childhood friend Blake. Because I was close to Blake, Scarlett, who liked him, got enraged and used her family's influence to falsely accuse me, resulting in my expulsion from school. I pleaded with Blake, "Remember when you were bullied as a kid, and I helped you? Please ask Scarlett to let me be. After all, my situation was dire and education was my only way out." Blake disdainfully replied, "What's it to me? I never asked for your help. Besides, you always cling to me. Talking to someone broke and ordinary like you is bad luck." I didn't want to deal with them anymore. I got up to leave, but Scarlett insisted on making things difficult for me. She drove her car towards me, trying to scare me, but before her car got close, a flash of white light from my pocket caused her car's front to crumple instantly. We were all stunned by the scene. Seconds later, Scarlett furiously called the police. At the station, after repeatedly watching the surveillance footage, the chief concluded, "Your car's damage has nothing to do with this young lady." He then sent Scarlett and Blake away. As they left, they bitterly warned me, "This isn't over. You better hope you don't run into us again." After thanking the chief, I was about to leave when he led me to a small room and said calmly, "Don't worry, I called you here to see what's in your pocket." I clenched my face, gripping the crystal nucleus tightly. He immediately said, "After watching the footage, I noticed a flash of white light from your pocket. I know there are many unknown things in this world yet to be discovered. If you're willing to hand it over, I assure you, you won't be implicated, and all research will be conducted with your consent, okay?" After some hesitation, I eventually took out the crystal nucleus. However, I only handed over the white one, keeping the 3 orange ones for myself. The chief observed it for a while, but couldn't make heads or tails of it. He then said, "I'll send this to the research institute. Maybe they can figure out what kind of energy it contains. Is that okay?" "Okay." After exchanging contact information with me, the sheriff walked me out. "My name is Vince. I'll contact you once the results from the lab are in." "Okay." I then pedaled my old bike noisily back home. At 7 in the evening, a flash outside the store transported me back to the frozen apocalypse world. I stared at the deserted road. The chilling temperatures of the apocalyptic nights made traveling difficult, so there were very few survivors. However, the slow business was a blessing in disguise. As I barely had enough money for ingredients, outside was bitterly cold, but for some reason, inside was as warm as spring. While I dozed off under the dim light, the wind chime rang. I thought it was Luna and was about to greet her with a warm smile, when 4 men, breathing heavily, stepped inside. "A restaurant, that's an old-fashioned name. You must have some nutrient solutions or food, right?" Random dishes. "Never mind, anything will do. My brother can't hold on much longer," he choked up as he spoke. I then noticed one of them was carrying a man covered in scars. Feeling the warmth, he barely lifted his head, his face showing faint surprise. "To think it's a restaurant, something from before the apocalypse. I never thought I'd see one again, even without food. I can die without regrets." "Jason, what nonsense are you talking about? We just need to get you back to the base, a shot of antibiotics, and you'll be fine. You must hold on." "Forget it. The apocalypse has been here for over 20 years. I can't keep going. It might be better to die." Hoping that down below, "I can have one more bowl of my mom's hot Yangchen noodles. As long as you're alive, you can definitely have Yangchen noodles." 5 tall men, nearly 6 feet 3 inches each, couldn't help but have their eyes well up and their voices choke. I timidly offered, I can make Yangchen noodles too. Would you like some?" Luckily, I had bought some noodles on my trip to the city today, just in time to be useful. Jason smiled at me kindly. "Thank you, young lady. But it's been over 20 years since the apocalypse began, let alone Yangchen noodles. Even edible food is scarce. I know you mean well to encourage me, but," seeing him struggling to breathe, I cut him off. "Wait here." I then lifted the curtain and entered the kitchen. I moved swiftly to boil water and cook the noodles. While waiting, I took out 5 large bowls. I added a small spoonful of lard, soy sauce, dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, and salt, one by one. Once the noodle water boiled, I swirled it in the bowls. The aroma of lard wafted up warmly. After the noodles were cooked, I evenly divided them into the 5 bowls. The plump noodles gleamed golden as they swirled in the lard soup. Taking advantage of the boiling water, I blanched a couple of handfuls of greens I had picked. After a moment of thought, I heated some oil in a pan and fried an egg to place in one of the bowls. All this took just over 10 minutes. I first brought out the bowl with the fried egg. "Here. The Yangchen noodles you wanted. They might not taste exactly like your mother's, but they should be pretty good." When the noodles were served, everyone was stunned. Jason was the first to snap back to reality, rubbing his eyes in disbelief, and stuttered, "These are really noodles, actual noodles, and they have eggs that aren't rotten or moldy. My God, how many years has it been since I've seen such fresh, steaming plain noodles? Am I dreaming? Owner, can we really eat this?" The others swallowed hard with excitement. Though no one else spoke, I could read the same astonishment in their eyes. I chuckled. "Of course, you can eat it." Jason picked up his chopsticks half in doubt, his mind racing with numerous guesses. Either this was a hallucination before his death, or he had witnessed a miracle. How else could you explain such fresh food in a dilapidated urban area with fewer zombies than elsewhere? But after his first bite, he was convinced this was indeed a miracle because these plain noodles tasted even better than he imagined. Jason took it quite well. After all, with the apocalypse upon us, what couldn't be possible? He began to slurp the noodles voraciously. Meanwhile, the other 4 gulped down their saliva. It took him 3 big mouthfuls before he remembered his brothers. And by then, only a third of the bowl was left. Jason awkwardly pushed the bowl forward. "Sorry, I ate too quickly. It's been too long since I've had such delicious plain noodles. Please share what's left." "It's okay. How does it taste? Is it really noodles, like the ones before the apocalypse?" "Really, they taste better than any plain noodles I've ever had. The noodles are soft yet springy, and the soup is exceptionally tasty." "Then I'll just have some soup." Seeing their eager faces, I immediately interjected, "Hey, don't rush. There's enough for everyone. I'll get more for you." They looked at each other in disbelief. "Such delicious and precious noodles. Do we really all get some? Owner, are you some kind of fairy?" 5 minutes later, there were 5 clean bowls on the table, licked so clean not a drop of soup remained. They felt embarrassed only after they had finished. They pulled out crystal nuclei, 4 red, 3 orange, and even 1 yellow. I accepted them all with a smile. They hoisted Jason onto their backs again. As they were leaving, Jason suddenly turned back and asked me, "Owner, will I be able to eat your noodles again?" Thinking about his earlier resignation, I paused while wiping the table, then smiled warmly. "You will, as long as you stay alive. Come back and try something different next time." The 5 tall men were moved to tears. "Don't worry. I will make it back to the base to get antibiotics." I always felt like there was no end in sight to this apocalypse. It might be okay for children born into it, but for us who experienced the world before, sometimes it feels like living now is worse than death. But your restaurant has given us a new reason to live. Next time, we'll bring more brothers to taste this heavenly delight. I was deeply touched. It's a promise. After seeing them off, I turned around to reveal a mask of agony on my face. 5 burly men had managed to devour a week's worth of my groceries in just one meal. For the following days, I tightened my belt, relieved that no other guests arrived. Staring at my dwindling bank balance, I sighed heavily. I cursed my own excessive sympathy, but seeing their pitiful state, I couldn't bear to turn them away. After all, what was so wrong about wanting a meal? The things our world rejects could be the very things that give them the strength to survive. But, oh, how I craved fried chicken, hot pot, barbecue, and desserts. I tossed and turned in bed, restless and anxious. Just then, my $800 smartphone rang. It was Officer Vince calling. "Hello," I answered. "Miss, the results from the Scientific Research Institute are in. Are you available? I'll come to pick you up," said Officer Vince. Officer Vince drove me to the police station in his squad car. 2 men in white shirts greeted us warmly. "Miss, hello. We are researchers from the National Science Institute." They introduced themselves straightforwardly. "Thanks to you, we've discovered immense energy within that crystal. If we can extract it, it could greatly advance our country's scientific endeavors and even humanity as a whole." Their enthusiasm was palpable. I was flattered and a bit overwhelmed. "Really, these crystals, or rather, these cores, are that powerful?" "Absolutely," they nodded vigorously. "Due to the confidential nature of the project, we can't say much, but just to give you an idea, you know our country's maritime defenses aren't as strong as those of Cherry Blossom Country or Little Rice Country, right? Yes, if we could harness this energy for our warships and artillery, our military strength could increase by at least 5-fold. Their eyes blazed with fervor as they grasped my hands. "This is all thanks to you. Where did you get these crystals? Do you have more?" "I do. But may I keep the source confidential?" Their enthusiasm dimmed slightly at my request, but hearing that there were more crystals, they quickly regained their spirits. Since it was for the glory of our nation, I felt duty-bound to cooperate. I handed over the remaining cores I had saved. "These red and orange ones seem to contain even more energy," I noted. Their eyes lit up. "Thank you." After receiving the cores, they pulled out a check from a folder. "Here's $100,000 from the state and the Science Institute as a reward. If you continue to supply us with crystals, there will be more rewards. Also, let us know if you have any other requests." I actually did have a request. My parents left me a house that was taken over by relatives. I'd like to get it back, but if that's not possible, no worries. I'll save up and hire a lawyer to handle it later. "No problem. We'll take care of it." Leaving the police station, I excitedly made my way to the bank with the check in hand. The line was long, and after waiting 2 hours, it was finally my turn. Just as I was about to sit down, someone beat me to the seat and provocatively raised an eyebrow at me. "It's you again, Stella. Why do you keep haunting this place?" I looked down and my face darkened with irritation. I ran into Scarlett again. "Don't jump the queue," she told me. Scarlett looked me up and down. "So what? I'm a diamond customer at the bank." "What are you here for?" "Poor thing, to get a loan." I frowned, not bothering to engage with her, and handed my check and bank card to the teller. "Hello, could you please process this?" Scarlett scoffed, handing over her own bank card, a black card. The staff picked up her card first, apologizing to me. "Sorry, she has a black card, which comes with priority service." However, as soon as they noticed the seal on my check, their expression changed dramatically. "Miss, please follow me to the lounge. I'll have a specialist assist you with the exchange." A customer manager was immediately summoned. After hearing what had happened, the manager greeted me with a flattering smile and ushered me into the lounge. Scarlett, left behind, was furious. "What's going on? I'm a diamond customer and I've never seen you treat me with such eagerness. Am I less important than this poor soul?" The staff whispered. "Miss, the check has the seal of the National Administration. Even our bank president would have to treat it with the utmost respect." Scarlett's face darkened even more, and she left without withdrawing her money, cursing as she went. With the money in hand, I suddenly felt a rush of newfound wealth. I finally had money. All the treats I craved, like cake, fried chicken, and barbecue, were now within reach. I immediately took a taxi to Sam's Club in the downtown area and splurged $260 on a membership card. Then, I went on a shopping spree, buying durian mochi, Swiss rolls, tiramisu, roast chicken, fried chicken, cherries, strawberries. Considering my limited cooking skills, I also picked up several ready-made meals and ingredient kits. After arranging for same-day delivery, I rushed to another grocery store to buy meat, eggs, vegetables, and spices. Remembering how the restaurant furniture was damaged, I ordered a few new sets of tables, chairs, lamps, and curtains. I even bought some new kitchen utensils. I spent $20,000 just like that, which made me a bit sad, but then I remembered what the scientists said: as long as I keep providing crystal cores, there would be more rewards. Since the energy from the crystal cores could be used for research and military purposes, I wanted to contribute to the country. It looked like I needed to expand my business, or else I'd be waiting forever for a customer. I hitched a ride back home with the furniture store's delivery truck. After setting everything up, it was nearly 7 p.m. I quickly heated up a convenience store meal, but before I could finish, the scene outside suddenly changed. The roar of zombies came through. I calmly continued eating. Since I had noticed that the zombies seemed oblivious to the restaurant's presence, I wasn't afraid at all. In fact, I even enjoyed the thrill. It was like watching a 7D apocalypse movie. A few zombies lingered outside the restaurant. Even though I knew they wouldn't come in, it was still a bit unsettling. Just as I was thinking this, they suddenly howled and rushed towards the road, only to be incinerated by 2 bursts of fire. I was stunned. Wow, was that a special ability? It was shocking. Then, about a dozen people emerged from behind the flames. They were tall, dressed in neat cold weather gear, and wore relaxed smiles as they walked into the restaurant, chatting and laughing. "Boss, this is the restaurant I was talking about. I didn't expect it to still be open. Hey there, owner, good evening, remember us?" As I looked up, I saw familiar faces, Jason among them. Behind them trailed 8 men dressed uniformly. A party of 13 suddenly filled the restaurant with life. So many customers, I couldn't help but smile. "Of course. I remember. How's your injury?" Jason scratched the back of his head, slightly embarrassed. "I was bitten by a zombie, barely made it back to base for antibiotics. Your noodles gave me the strength I needed. When I got back, I told my squad how delicious your simple noodles were, but they didn't believe me. I thought since we had a night mission today, it'd be a good chance to show them what they're missing." The robust men entered the restaurant, their eyes wide as they looked around. "Damn, Jason. We thought you were hallucinating from your severe injuries, but there actually is a restaurant. Look, what's that on the cashier counter? Rice. Damn, are those lunchboxes with curry chicken cutlets? I'm drooling already. We thought the simple noodles were the limit, but the owner's even eating curry chicken rice. It's minus 70 degrees outside, and yet there's not a hint of cold air here. The lights are so bright, and the heating so strong. How much energy must that cost?" The men began to chat animatedly. "All right, stop standing around. Let's sit down and not disrupt the owner's business." A stern voice cut through the chatter. Everyone immediately quieted down and efficiently took their seats. I instinctively followed the voice and saw a man nearly 9 meters tall, dressed in a black cold weather jacket, with a faint scar on his chin, looking quite formidable. Even more charismatic than many movie stars. He seemed to be around 25 or 26, but was clearly the leader of the group. The man introduced himself. "I'm Luke, a colonel from Hunshan Base's military. Just serve the food as usual." He then pulled out 2 energy cores from his pocket. "This is for the meal. We are many, so please excuse us." Luke's demeanor was neither servile nor arrogant. Despite his initial surprise upon entering, he remained composed. "Blue rank energy cores, boss. These could be exchanged for a week's supply of nutrient solution. Wait till you try the owner's cooking, then you'll see how worthwhile these 2 blue rank cores are. It's a taste of heaven that money can't buy." I cheerfully accepted the energy cores. Given his generosity, I was determined to prepare a meal that justified the price. Luckily, I had bought plenty of ingredients today. "All right, just wait." In the kitchen, I surveyed the ingredients and decided to make a hot pot. I took out 2 large pots, heated the oil, and then added spices like green onions, ginger, garlic, and chili peppers, frying them until fragrant. Next, I added the hot pot base and stirred it, then mixed in water and covered the pot. As the base began to boil, I washed various vegetables and placed them in baskets, unpacked tripe and beef rolls onto plates, and washed a couple of basins filled with different hot pot balls. Finally, I prepared the dipping sauces in disposable bowls. While I was busy in the kitchen, whispers occasionally reached my ears from outside. "Boss, why offer 2 blue rank cores? Level 8 zombies are rare, and you don't have many, do you?" Luke looked around the modest restaurant, pondering. Surrounded by zombies, none dared to attack the restaurant, which spoke volumes about the owner's formidable strength. The fact that Jason and his friends enjoyed a spring noodle meal before, and the owner recently had a bento, suggested she had abundant supplies. Despite the simple decor, the furniture was new, and the warmth inside felt like spring, all maintained by significant paranormal abilities and a wealth of energy crystals. I suspect her parents might have powerful space-related abilities and had stockpiled a lot of food before the apocalypse. Her willingness to share these resources shows her kindness. Such a person is definitely worth befriending. Everyone was stunned by the insights. "Boss, how can you deduce so much from just a few sentences? No wonder you made Colonel at 25. Wait, what's that smell? It smells amazing." The base of the pot was ready, the aroma of beef and chili wafted outside. Gurgle, gurgle. Luke, who had been analyzing the situation calmly, paused slightly. His stomach, embarrassingly, growled out loud. Fortunately, everyone else's stomachs were even louder. He glanced awkwardly towards the kitchen, unbeknownst to him. His eyes were filled with immense longing. I combined the 4 tables in the restaurant and brought out 2 induction cookers. Then, under their eager and excited gazes, I brought out the hot pot bases and dishes one by one. One is a buttery broth, and the other is a tomato broth. Cook whatever you like. With each dish I brought out, their exclamations grew louder and more enthusiastic. "Holy crap! Is this hot pot? To think I'd get to eat hot pot in my lifetime. My God, it's meat, real meat." I thought I'd be satisfied with just a bowl of steaming noodles, but here we are not only having hot pot but also so many dishes. Instantly, the restaurant was filled with the sounds of gasping and swallowing. 2 minutes later, as I finished setting the dishes on the table, I said, "Eat up." No sooner had I spoken than they surged forward like floodwaters released from a dam, quickly and efficiently starting to cook their food, in a frenzy more intense than fighting zombies. My God, I never thought I'd get to eat tripe and beef in the apocalypse. This tender texture is way better than any hot pot I've had before. Even the potatoes are so soft and smooth, they're delicious enough to make me want to swallow my tongue. I could drink 3 big bowls of this hot pot broth, in this cold apocalypse. Having this hot pot meal feels like it could boost my morale to hunt 100 zombies tomorrow. It's so delicious. I wish the apocalypse had never happened so everyone could enjoy this tasty hot pot. As everyone spoke, there was a mix of emotion and a hint of tears. Luke kept his head down and focused on eating. Hearing this, his eyes also reddened. Before the apocalypse started, he was only 3 years old. His memory of these foods was quite distant to him, as long as he was full. It didn't matter whether it was energy or food, but this hot pot completely changed his mind. Nothing, absolutely nothing, was more important or delicious than food. While they feasted heartily, I spent another 2 minutes whipping up a large pot of fried rice for them. The grains were distinct and golden, fragrant with oil, perfectly complemented by the spicy, piping hot meat and vegetables. It was an unbeatable combination. My fried rice earned rave reviews once again. They were practically seeing stars as they ate, and towards the end, all you could hear were joyful exclamations of "delicious," "so blissful." Amidst the furious sounds of chewing, they devoured a whole table full of dishes like a whirlwind, cleaning everything up within half an hour. Everyone sat back, patting their slightly bulging bellies, tears of happiness in their eyes. After eating their fill, they scratched their heads somewhat sheepishly. "Sorry, boss. It was just too tasty." It's been 20 years since the apocalypse, and this is the first time we've had such delicious food. We couldn't help going wild. We're not usually like this. "No worries, I understand. Boss, I'll give you these 2 green tier crystal cores as thanks for letting me enjoy a hot pot in my lifetime. It was worth it. I've been a bit lazy in hunting zombies lately, only got 3 yellow cores, but I'll definitely try harder tomorrow." "Will your restaurant still be open?" Seeing their hopeful eyes, I nodded. "Of course, crystal cores are valuable, and I plan to earn more." They thought I needed a lot of crystal cores to keep the restaurant running and nodded understandingly. At first, I thought giving 2 blue tier crystal cores might have been too much, but now, everyone unanimously agreed. The owner is like a living Buddha, rescuing us from suffering. As long as there are zombies and mutant monsters, crystal cores are inexhaustible, since the boss needs them. They'd definitely go out and fight zombies to collect crystal cores, just to have a taste of such hot food again. After they finished eating, they rushed to clean the table and wash dishes. I then turned to Luke. "Are you their leader?" "You could say that," Luke replied. After all, he was the core of the group, and everyone generally followed his lead. I asked further, "So, what's your standing like at your base?" Luke thought for a moment. "It's good. I have a significant say, in fact. Besides the base leader and a couple of others, he had the most influence. I nodded. How many people are at your base now? What do you eat? What's the survival mode like? How are crystal cores valued? Luke didn't mind my questions. He explained each point and even started to educate me on the rules of this new world. Our base has about 300,000 people, quite a large one, since the apocalypse. We've gradually established a home, using the energy from crystal cores to develop special abilities and strengthen ourselves. Although we can't use electricity due to the cold wave, the energy contained in the crystal cores has replaced it in oil. However, the apocalypse has changed the soil and flora and fauna, so we haven't yet been able to cultivate vegetables and meat that can adapt to the new conditions. Fortunately, we rely on energy liquid to satiate our hunger and maintain bodily functions. Crystal cores have 10 levels, with white being the lowest and gold the highest. As I listened, I nodded. Once he finished speaking, I carefully broached my idea. I'm in need of crystal cores and would like to make a deal with your base. I'll provide food, and you provide crystal cores. We can negotiate the pricing. What do you think? This idea had been on my mind since I returned in the afternoon. Waiting for people to come by every day was simply too slow, especially since it's so dangerous to go out at night during the apocalypse. In this particular area, the idea of opening a restaurant seems almost foolhardy, as most ordinary people would be too intimidated to step foot inside. Why not collaborate with the base? Suggested Luke, his eyes lighting up at the thought. Our base has 300,000 people. Can you supply enough food for all of us? I think so, was the response. If you're sure it's feasible, then I'll discuss it with our leader. I believe he'd be very enthusiastic about it. If it weren't for the fact that he was only a colonel, he would have agreed on the spot. After all, anyone who has tasted the hot pot meal we had today would find it impossible to go back to those bland nutrient solutions. Upon hearing this news, everyone else in the restaurant became visibly excited. The entire place was filled with an atmosphere of joy and happiness. Just then, the door of the restaurant opened again. Luna paused in surprise and asked, "Why are there so many people? What's the occasion?" Everyone seems so happy seeing her. I greeted her with a warm smile. "Long time no see." Luna, a bit embarrassed, chuckled. "It's too dangerous to venture out at night, and I only dared to come because I tagged along with a team from the base on a night mission. Besides, I'm broke. Even if I wanted to come every day, I would be too embarrassed to." Curiously, she looked at the table and exclaimed, "Fairy sister, what are we having today? I can smell something delicious. It smells like fried rice with eggs. Your nose is too sharp, but you're a bit late. We've finished the dishes." Luna looked disappointed. Suddenly, an idea struck me. I remembered the desserts I had bought earlier. "However, I've got something else. Just wait, I'll get it for you to try. You're going to love it." After all, which girl could resist desserts, especially durian mochi? Hearing this, the burly men around also looked over curiously. I took out 2 pieces of durian mochi from the fridge and handed one to her. "Try this." Luna carefully held the wrapper. Afraid of getting the mochi dirty, she examined it and murmured, "What's this? It's so soft, and it has a strange smell. It's a bit off-putting, but also kind of fragrant." One of the onlookers commented, "This looks like a dessert. My wife used to love these." "Is that durian?" "Yes, that's durian. My daughter loves it. She can eat 2 or 3 pieces at a time. It seems like you girls all like this kind of thing." Upon hearing this, Luna took a tentative bite. Immediately, the rich, sweet taste of durian filled her mouth. She smacked her lips and her eyes lit up with delight. "This is so tasty. It melts in your mouth, so soft and sweet. It's sweet right to the core." She finished 1 piece almost instantly. Holding the other, she kept turning it in her hand, reluctant to eat it. I asked her, "What's wrong?" Luna looked up at me, her eyes brimming with tears. "Fairy sister, I want to ask you for a favor." "Don't worry, I've saved up a lot of crystal cores to give you." "What is it?" I asked. Luna hesitated. "It's my mother's 42nd birthday in a couple of days. She keeps saying she might die in a zombie wave any day now, and often reminisces about life before the apocalypse. Although I don't really know what life was like before the apocalypse. The food here heals the heart. I was thinking of buying some food from you to take back for my mom to try, to give her an unforgettable birthday." After hearing her words, I couldn't help but smile. "This is a restaurant. Of course you can take out." Luna smiled too. "That's great. My mom will be so happy if she gets to taste these delicacies." I told her about the great food here before, but she didn't believe me, thinking I hadn't seen much of the world or tasted good things. Today, I'll take this durian mochi back for her to try. Hearing her, an idea struck me. My business has been slow because it's not well known. Nobody knows it exists. If I could get the word out, let everyone know that this restaurant is here for real, then Perhaps people would start coming on their own. With that thought, I asked Luna, "Is your base far from here? Is it difficult to travel here at night?" Seeing that she always comes alone, it shouldn't be too hard for her. "It's not far, just 3 kilometers away. What if I say I'd like to throw a birthday party for your mom? You could invite all your friends and family. The more the merrier. I'd charge only 10 white crystal cores per person. What do you think?" Luna's eyes widened in surprise, her joyful smile almost spilled out of her eyes. "Really, any amount of crystal cores is fine. They are quite wealthy. I'm just worried that it might be too crowded for you to handle." "No worries, I'll prepare the food. You just help me clean up and do the dishes." "Great, I'll go back and tell them right away," Luna said, bowing deeply to me, then carefully walked away holding the durian mochi. I watched her leave. Turning around, I met 13 pairs of eager eyes. I was puzzled. "What's up?" Jason said. "Owner, you are too kind and generous. Can we join the birthday party the day after tomorrow? We'll pay not just 10, but 100 white crystal cores if needed." I was somewhat speechless. "Why would you join in her mom's birthday celebration?" Jason replied. "All humans are one big family, Owner. We promise not to cause trouble and will also ensure their safety." After thinking it over, I reluctantly agreed. "Since it's her birthday, how about this? I prepare 1 round of food, and you prepare another. How does that sound?" "Thank you, Owner." It was already cleared by Luke and his team. "Besides, if there really were zombies, you 2 kids wouldn't have made it here alive. Now, tell me, what are you really after?" "Actually, I wasn't originally so harsh towards children. It's just that the way he lived just now suddenly reminded me of Yuki, the sister I scrimped and saved to raise. Yet she tried to drug me and hand me over to an old man for 20,000 from my aunt. When I found out, she even had the audacity to argue, with his wealth, your life would be much better with him." "Sister, I was doing it for your sake." Seeing my expression turn colder, the 2 kids immediately knelt down with a thud, begging through sobs and tears. "Sorry, sister, we didn't mean to deceive you. We are just too hungry." I frowned. "Where are your parents?" Children who can survive and grow up to 8 or 9 years old after the apocalypse usually have strong parents. The little girl cried even harder. "Our dad was clearing zombies in this area a few days ago. They thought it would be an easy task and wanted to train us, so they brought us along. But there was a traitor at the base who hid the fact that there was a level 9 mega zombie here. They used all their strength to get us out, but they died inside." The girl sobbed more intensely. I was somewhat moved, but still had to maintain my principles. "That doesn't justify you deceiving me." The girl wiped her tears and said, "I know it's wrong to lie, but we've been hiding around this area, afraid to go back to the base, and haven't eaten for 3 days. We watched you for a long time, saw that you were kind and gentle, and thought we'd try our luck. Please, sister, don't kill us. We'll do anything to make up for our mistake." The little boy also hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry. I really know I was wrong. We'll do anything you ask. Just please don't kill us. I still want to go back to the base and avenge my dad." With that, his eyes reddened. I kept a stern face and said, "Even if I don't kill you, you have no food or energy cores. How will you survive and avenge your dad? Do you have some powerful abilities?" The little girl quickly said, "His ability is really powerful. It's of the lightning type, and it's already level 3. The low-level zombies we encountered near the restaurant these past few days were all defeated by him, but we didn't dare to harvest the cores." I became interested. "Oh, how old are you?" The little boy puffed up proudly. 8 years old. Then he wilted again, weakly pleading, "Beautiful sister, could you please credit us some food? We'll find energy cores to pay you back tomorrow." I stroked my chin. Although I'm not very familiar with the ability system, seeing them like this, they must be quite capable, and while I don't need protection, their slaying zombies near the restaurant indirectly protected me too. The restaurant hasn't yet activated its passive skill to expose them. At least these kids mean me no harm. They just don't want to starve or let their father's death be in vain. They're capable, articulate, smart, scared of dying, and have a conscience, just young and misguided. Since I run the restaurant alone at night and it gets a bit boring, and it can get overwhelming when it's busy. Considering this, I told them, "Although I accept your explanation, you still tried to deceive me. Here's what we'll do. Let's just forget about the debt," I suggested. "You can work for me at the restaurant in the evenings, and fend for yourselves during the day. I'll provide all your meals. How does that sound?" After hearing my proposal, the 2 exchanged glances before bowing deeply in gratitude. "Thank you so much, beautiful sister. We'll work hard to make up for our mistakes. We're really grateful for the food you're offering us." I went to the kitchen and brought back 2 large loaves of bread. After a moment's thought, I dusted them with some cocoa powder and handed them over, saying, "I've added poison to these. I have the antidote with me. If you ever deceive or betray me again, you won't get the antidote, and you won't be able to seek revenge." They looked terrified and quickly assured me we wouldn't dare. We absolutely wouldn't dare. Go ahead, eat, as long as you obey. I'll give you the antidote on time, I said, pushing the bread toward them. They accepted it as if resigned to their fate, closed their eyes, steeled their hearts, and took a bite. What is this? It's so soft, it practically melts in your mouth without even needing to chew. It looks so big, but it's not hard at all and smells amazing. Just one bite makes my mouth water like crazy. It's delicious. No wonder everyone who leaves here looks so happy, even if it's poisoned. I'd want to eat this every day. They devoured the bread in no time, with the little boy even sneakily licking his fingers. Pleased, I clapped my hands and said, "Now that you've eaten my bread, you belong to me. I'm Stella. What are your names?" The little boy replied, "I'm Ethan." The little girl said, "I'm Mia." I then gave them a brief tour of the restaurant. You'll work from 7 in the evening to 7 in the morning. Your main tasks will be serving dishes, tidying the hall, and washing dishes. I pointed to the serving area. This is where you'll serve the dishes. Then, showing them a small space of about 2 square meters that I had partitioned off with a curtain, I continued, this is the dishwashing area. Put the used dishes and utensils here, clean them, and stack them on the shelves. I'll fetch them from the kitchen when needed. You're not allowed in the kitchen, there are cameras, and if I catch you, there'll be no antidote, understand? They nodded vigorously. We understand, beautiful sister, I smiled. Each morning at 5, I'll give you breakfast, and at 7, I'll provide food for the day which you can take with you. After the restaurant opens at 7 in the evening, I'll serve you dinner. When the restaurant is empty, you can rest or sleep on any table. I won't mind. Okay, thank you, beautiful sister, they responded. Any questions? I asked. Ethan timidly raised his hand. Beautiful sister, if I fight zombies and find crystal cores, can I give you money to buy food? Of course, you can, I replied. Their faces lit up with happy smiles. Thank you, beautiful sister. After finishing the instructions, I returned to the front desk and settled down. The kids looked around the restaurant curiously. Mia commented, "It's so warm here." Even warmer than I imagined, Ethan, still savoring the memory of the bread, said. That bread was so delicious, I swear it's the tastiest thing I've ever eaten. Beautiful sister said she'd provide us with 3 meals a day. Does that mean we'll always get to eat such delicious bread? Mia rolled her eyes at him. What are you thinking about? Our beautiful sister has been so kind to us, giving us delicious meals. It's more than we could ever hope for. She's truly wonderful, providing us with a warm place free of zombies. She might ask us to work. But she's also given us shelter and 3 meals a day, 3 whole meals. She and this restaurant both bring warmth and happiness to our lives. Mia spoke, her little head nodding off bit by bit. Seeing this, Ethan patted her head. These past few days have been exhausting with all the hiding and running. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on the shop. You get some rest. On hearing this, Mia grumbled, later, wake me up, and I'll take over so you can sleep. Just like before. Then she closed her eyes and slept quietly. Ethan sat up straight, vigilantly watching the entrance, worried about missing any customers. I couldn't help but smile at this scene. You should sleep too. If any customers come, the wind chimes at the door will ring. I didn't get out of bed until 3 or 4 in the afternoon, but I wasn't sleepy. There were no guests anyway, and seeing how exhausted they were, letting them sleep a bit longer was no harm. Ethan expressed his gratitude to me with a heartfelt thanks. He too fell asleep with his head down on the table. At 5 in the morning, the enticing aroma from the kitchen woke them up. Initially, they rubbed their eyes in confusion. Then, their eyes suddenly widened in shock as they looked at the swinging pendulum of the wall clock. Oh, beautiful sister, I'm so sorry we slept so long. Damn it. It's just that your place is so warm and safe. We haven't had a good sleep in so long. We didn't mean to slack off. Sorry, sister. I poked my head out from the kitchen holding chopsticks. Don't worry about it. We didn't have any customers last night anyway. Just wait a few more minutes. Breakfast will be ready soon. After saying that, I went back into the kitchen, feeling lazy in the morning. I opened 5 packets of old hen noodle soup. After boiling a large pot of water, I cooked the noodles and then dumped all the seasoning in. Then, I poached 3 eggs in it. Soon enough, a bowl of golden, sticky, aromatic old hen soup noodles was freshly served. While I was cooking the noodles, Mia and Ethan quickly tidied up the table. As soon as I brought the noodles to the serving window, they eagerly came forward to serve themselves. What is this? Their eyes nearly popped out as they swallowed and stared at the bowl of noodles. I came out of the kitchen with my bowl and answered, old hen soup noodles. The broth is slowly simmered from an old hen. The golden parts are the noodles, and the round ones are poached eggs. Stop looking, eat up. They could hardly listen to me. At my signal, they began to devour the meal. They were still not very adept with chopsticks, but their instinct to eat helped them adapt quickly, and they soon got the hang of it. Mia picked up a poached egg and gently bit into it. The yolk and white melted in her mouth. Her eyes, wide like a deer's, instantly rounded. It's so tender and soft. It disappeared the moment I ate it, but the taste lingers and it's so delicious. Compared to her delicate demeanor, Ethan was much wilder, almost burying his head in the bowl, slurping the noodles and sipping the soup, occasionally making glug-glug sounds. A few minutes later, he patted his round belly, sighing with satisfaction. It's so delicious, the soup is salty and spicy, and the noodles are so good. I've only read about such delicacies in books left by adults, thought they were fictitious, but real gourmet food does exist. Mia nodded vigorously in agreement. Right, the noodles are so filling, and a sip of the soup warms up my whole body, a million times better than nutrient solutions. My favorite is this poached egg, so soft and sweet. It feels like even my dreams will be sweet after eating it. As she spoke, her eyes gradually reddened, and she choked up. If only Dad were still here. He always talked about life before the apocalypse. He would have been so happy to see this food. Ethan comforted her. Don't be sad. Once we avenge Dad and take back our base, we'll let all the other uncles and aunts enjoy the food here too, he said earnestly to me. Beautiful sister, thank you for taking us in and giving us such delicious food. Once we've had our revenge, we'll find as many crystal cores as you want for you. I just nodded nonchalantly, treating it as a child's empty promise. While they were washing the dishes, I grabbed a bag of cookies and 2 boxes of milk from the snack shelf in the kitchen. After they finished, I handed them the items. Here's your food for the day. Come back at 7 tonight. I'm going to rest. The 2 kids left the restaurant, just like the previous days. They quietly hid in the ruins surrounding the restaurant. Until 7 in the morning, the once warm restaurant suddenly became as dull and ordinary as any other building around. Ethan stood up and said to Mia, "All right, beautiful sister must have left by now. Let's hurry and hunt zombies for crystal cores, work on improving our special abilities, and get our revenge soon." Mia, following behind him, couldn't help but look back. Ethan, is beautiful sister really a fairy? She's so kind and gentle. Probably not. I didn't sense any special abilities from her. What about the poison in our bodies? She was bluffing us, Ethan said, falling silent for a moment, unconsciously clutching the cookies and warm milk in his hand. She really is a good person, even if it's not for the food. We need to protect the restaurant and not let anyone destroy it. Understand, living in a post-apocalyptic world, he was used to darkness. This sudden touch of warmth and purity gave him a reason to keep living. Mia, holding the still slightly warm milk, looked nostalgic. That noodle and fried egg dish was so delicious. I feel like my stomach is still warm, and my body is full of strength. Nutrient solutions provide energy too, but they can't compare to this food. Just thinking about eating beautiful sister's cooking every day gives me the motivation to survive. What about you? Me too. The past few days of hiding and exhaustion made me want to give up and just die, but from now on, we must live well. Not only to avenge our father, but also to repay beautiful sister and protect this last sanctuary. Mia, do you have the confidence? Of course. Good. Our goal today is to kill 100 zombies, keep the white crystal cores for beautiful sister, and we'll use the others. I slept until 3 in the afternoon. After getting up, I first called a courier to send the crystal cores I got last night to Vince at the police station. Then I ordered some takeout for myself. Thinking about the dishes for tomorrow night's birthday party while eating, Luke took a lot of fast food last night, and now the kitchen only had raw meats and vegetables that needed cooking. With so many people and my lack of skills in complex dishes, a lavish feast was out of the question. Suddenly, my phone pushed a video of a food review. What does it feel like for college students to brave a 68 yuan all-you-can-eat barbecue? My eyes lit up instantly. Eating a steaming hot barbecue in the bitter cold, what could be better? I immediately ordered 4 electric grills on the local delivery app, along with barbecue sauces, lava garlic, lettuce, turkey noodles, and more. Meanwhile, at Sunrise Base, after completing her task, Luna bounced back cheerfully. Sunrise Base was not very large, housing a population of about 100,000. Housing and supplies were distributed based on the number of crystal cores submitted. Luna's family consisted of 6 members, her parents, 2 older brothers, and a younger sister who was only 3 or 4 years old. All 6 of them lived together in a cramped, 20-square-meter house. Despite the crowded and impoverished conditions, they were relatively content. When Luna got home, her 2 brothers had already returned, each holding 20 bottles of nutrient solution. Her father sighed. The base is giving out less and less nutrient solution. We only got this little for 200 white crystal cores. Her mother then poured out all the nutrient solution and diluted it with water, turning the 20 bottles into 40. This should last us another 3 days. I'll go out on a mission tomorrow too, she said. The eldest brother frowned. Nutrient solutions are getting scarcer. The second brother scoffed. Really? I think it's those higher-ups exploiting us. I heard they're using the crystal cores to develop more advanced nutrient solutions for themselves, getting plump while the concentration we get keeps decreasing. Their father sighed again. There's nothing we can do. They hold all the technology and resources. The eldest brother looked at their sleeping little sister, his eyes reddening. It doesn't matter much for us, but the little one is already malnourished. I wonder if she can grow up healthy. Their mother wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and changed the subject. Let's not talk about that. Luna is back. Her sentence was cut off as her gaze suddenly sharpened. She quickly moved to Luna's side, sniffing around her. I smell durian. Luna, is it coming from you? Surprised, Luna pulled out a durian mochi from her layers of clothing. Mom, you're amazing. You smelled it right away. It was given to me by Fairy Sister, the moment she saw the plump white mochi. Her mother's brain buzzed, and her eyes quickly welled up with tears. Almost trembling, she snatched the mochi from Luna's hands. With a trembling voice, she exclaimed, "This is the smell of durian, real durian mochi." Luna, delighted, said, "Mom, I didn't expect you to recognize it." Of course, she recognized it. Before the apocalypse, she was just in her early 20s, a prime age for loving desserts, and durian-flavored treats were her favorite. Even her father was stunned. The two brothers, although clueless, knew it was something edible, especially since their sister had been raving about how delicious the food from Fairy Sister was. Recently showing disinterest in the nutrient solutions, they thought she was just eating some stale cookies, but it turned out to be fresh food. Considering that desserts usually require higher storage standards, the freshness of the mochi indicated it was recently made. Instantly, the mother gripped Luna's shoulders. "Where is this Fairy Sister, and does she have a lot of food? Is it expensive? Why didn't you ask her to buy more food? Food has more energy than nutrient solutions. If we had food, we wouldn't need to drink diluted nutrient solutions." Luna immediately smiled. "It's not expensive at all. I was actually planning to buy some to bring back for you. But Fairy Sister heard about your birthday tomorrow and wants to throw a birthday party for you. She invited me to bring you all along, and for just 10 white crystal cores, we can have a full meal." 10 crystal cores is indeed not expensive, remarked the mother. "This Fairy Sister is truly a good person," added the father. "Can all of us go?" asked one of the brothers. Luna nodded. "Not just us, she also told me to invite other relatives and friends. Anyone willing to give crystal cores can come." "Mom, you eat the mochi first. I'll go call Uncle, Aunt, and Jocelyn," she said and dashed off like a gust of wind. There was a moment of silence before the eldest brother asked, "So, are we going tomorrow?" Dad replied, "Yes, we must go as long as there's hope." Mom said, 10 white crystal cores can only be exchanged for a bottle of nutrient solution at the base, but if it really lets us have a full meal, it's worth it in this lifetime." After saying that, she divided the daifuku into 5 portions. Everyone tasted a small bite. The flavor of the dessert healed their despair and solidified their decision to go to the restaurant tomorrow night. At 7 o'clock sharp in the evening, Mia and Ethan pushed open the door and entered. They placed 12 white crystal cores on the counter. "Beautiful sister, we hunted 102 zombies today. We absorbed the other cores to enhance our abilities. These are for you." I was momentarily surprised and praised. "You guys are incredible. Then I'll accept these." Mia smiled shyly. Then she eagerly stared at the kitchen. "So, what are we having tonight?" she asked, her mouth watering. I couldn't help but chuckle, seeing how well-behaved they were. I decided to cook them something delicious. I took out a semi-prepared burger from the fridge and heated it in the microwave. Then I cooked the semi-prepared fried chicken in the air fryer for 20 minutes. The burger bun was crispy and soft, the beef inside juicy and tender. Complemented by lettuce and salad dressing, it was a bite of bliss. The fried chicken was crispy outside, tender inside, dipped in chili or tomato sauce. It was so good one could almost suck their fingers into it. No kid could resist fried chicken and burgers, and these apocalypse-hardened kids were no exception. They ate enthusiastically, exclaiming "absolutely fantastic," and even crushed the bones to swallow. After eating, they conscientiously cleaned the table and washed the dishes and pots. I then started preparing the menu for tomorrow night's barbecue buffet. No more customers came that night. Late into the night, they rested their heads on the table, warmed by the restaurant's air conditioning, and slept a peaceful and sweet sleep. At 6:30 in the morning, they woke up naturally. I cooked instant wontons for us to eat together. As usual, they even slurped up the soup clean. After giving them a bag of toast and 2 bottles of milk for lunch, I closed up and went to sleep. As usual, they waited until the lights in the restaurant dimmed before leaving. Mia's face was filled with a satisfied smile. I never thought that after Dad died, I could still live a life with enough food and good sleep, and every day when we leave, the beautiful sister gives us dry food. When we come back, the restaurant is lit with a warm glow, and she waits inside with a smiling face. It's like she's family. Ethan's nose tingled slightly, and after a long pause, he nodded deeply. After waking up, I started preparing the food according to the menu. I seasoned all the meat: black pepper beefsteak, spicy beef slices, pork belly, Orleans chicken, spicy ribs, etc. Then I washed all the vegetables. Next, I cooked popcorn chicken, fried drumsticks, and fried chicken cutlets in the air fryer. After the pre-cooked meals were ready, I steamed some rice and boiled 10 bags of turkey noodles. Unknowingly, the sky outside had changed. It was just 7 o'clock. The restaurant doors were pushed open, and a large crowd surged in. Mia and Ethan, who had worked in the restaurant for 2 days without encountering a single customer, looked on as Luke brought a dozen men and Luna brought over 30 friends and relatives, all with silent expressions. When the 3 groups of people met, they instinctively remained silent without anyone saying a word. I had just finished preparing the ingredients and immediately welcomed them. Everyone's here. It's cold outside. Come on in, Luke. Could you and your friends wait outside for a moment? Luke nodded. No problem, we'll wait in the car. He said this while casually glancing into the restaurant. Tables filled with dishes. Holy smokes, is that pork belly? Did the boss prepare barbecue for us today? Last time it was hot pot, this time barbecue. I haven't eaten this well even before the apocalypse. I'm so drooling. I'm dying of craving. My mouth is watering, but there was no choice. Even with the craving, they had to wait. They wouldn't dare defy my words. On the other hand, Luna and the others seemed as excited as if it were New Year's. Everyone, except Luna, had tears welling up in their eyes as soon as they stepped into the restaurant. It's actually food. When Luna called us, we thought she was joking. Yeah, if it weren't for Luna's mom assuring us so earnestly, I wouldn't have dared to venture out this late at night. My God, meat and fresh vegetables. It's been over 20 years, I haven't even seen expired meat, let alone fresh food like this. Rice, eggs, beef, sausages, all my favorites. The owner must be a magician to get all these ingredients. Everyone looked at me excitedly. Owner, is all this really prepared for us? Just 10 white crystal cores for all you can eat? I quickly replied, yes, my restaurant operates from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and I decide the daily menu. Each meal only costs 10 crystal cores. Today we have a special barbecue event, so you might not always get such luxury, but I'll make sure you're well fed. 10 crystal cores can only get you a bottle of nutrient solution at the base, but here you can eat fresh and delicious food. I'd be happy even if I had to eat plain white rice every day, and the restaurant is so warm. When I walked in, I almost thought I was back before the apocalypse. At this, everyone's eyes reddened a bit. Let's not talk about that anymore. Luna's father called out, to have such a royal restaurant exist, and with such a generous and kind owner, we can come here to eat often without worrying about being hungry again. Yes, let's eat. I'm starving. I merged the tables in the hall together. There were 4 electric grills set up. It was a bit cramped with over 30 people, but with such tempting food in front of them, who cared about the crowd? They swarmed in. Someone grilled fresh slices of meat on the grill, which sizzled and oozed tantalizing aromas. Various meats dipped in barbecue sauce, wrapped in lettuce, and popped into mouths. With each bite, their bodies warmed up. Others filled a bowl with rice, adding slices of grilled meat, sausages, and barbecue sauce, mixing everything well. A bowl of barbecue rice was thus made. The rice, glistening and plump, wrapped around the grilled meat, was so satisfying that their eyes couldn't help but squint in delight. It's so delicious. This beef is so tender, and there's a hint of a milky aroma. You can tell it's good quality the moment you taste it. The rice is incredibly soft too, just this plain rice, and I could eat 3 big bowls of it, and these spicy turkey noodles. So satisfying. You know, I used to love spicy food. And it's been so many years since I've had it, I almost forgot what chili tastes like. Haha, you're crying from the spice. I don't care, it's delicious and so worth it. Only 10 crystal nuclei to enjoy such heavenly food. I'm going to eat here every day from now on. I was losing my will to live, but now I've decided to keep fighting, to kill more zombies and come back for more delicious food. Better to give my crystal nuclei to the fairy-like shop owner than those people at the base. At least she can fill us up. Haha. The restaurant was suddenly filled with joyful laughter. After everyone had their fill, I suddenly turned off the lights in the restaurant. In an instant, we were plunged into darkness. What happened? Could it be the zombies? We must protect the fairy lady in her restaurant at all costs. Brothers, get ready. We're breaking out. As they became agitated, I wheeled out a cart from the kitchen. On it was a large 4-tiered cake. I had ordered it the day before. The cake, filled with candles, bathed the small restaurant in a warm glow. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. The moment they heard this birthday song, those who had experienced the world before the apocalypse couldn't help but feel a twinge at the tip of their nose. Some even started to shed tears. The birthday person herself was sobbing uncontrollably. I thought I'd never taste a birthday cake again in my life. Mom, what are you talking about? With Fairy Sister here, not only will we eat our fill, but we'll eat well. Don't say such things, we need to stay healthy. Exactly. Everyone was moved by the atmosphere. They couldn't help but join in singing the birthday song. The melody resonated far and wide, not only celebrating Luna's mother's birthday, but also their desperate, cold, and harsh reality, their craving for food, and their hope for survival. Luna helped me cut the cake and distribute it among them. She also saved some for Luke and others outside, who were eagerly waiting. After finishing, everyone thanked me. My child was born during the apocalypse and has never tasted anything good. Once I earn some crystal nuclei, I'll definitely bring her here to taste this heavenly food. My grandmother is old and keeps saying she doesn't want to live. If she could taste these dishes, she would surely find the hope to keep living. Fairy lady, I'll come here every day from now. I'll eat whatever you make. Yes, let us know if you have any difficulties. You must keep this place open. We depend on your restaurant to live. Luna and her family were almost ready to kneel down in gratitude. I've been numb, struggling for over 20 years in the apocalypse. Thank you for giving me an unforgettable birthday. In their eyes, outside was the extreme cold and terrifying zombies. Although the base ensured safety, the exploitation by the higher-ups was getting worse. Resources were dwindling. They thought they wouldn't survive much longer. Now there is such an existence that allows them to afford food and eat their fill. What reason do they have not to live well? Luna and a few friends helped me and Ethan clear the table and wash the dishes and pots. Half an hour later, I was ready for the second round of barbecuing. I called out to Luke and the others, "All right, come on in." As soon as I finished speaking, they rushed in like swift wolves, exclaiming, "It's finally our turn, we're starving. It's barbecue, real fresh and delicious barbecue. Just one bite, and I feel full of energy, and there are such big pots of rice. This is awesome, owner, you're like a god to us." The next day, as usual, I sent the harvested crystals to Vince via express delivery. Not long after he received the package, he called me. "I've sorted out the house issue. I can take you there today. When are you free?" I immediately sat up in bed. "I'm free now." Vince replied, "All right, I'll come to pick you up." Half an hour later, a car stopped outside the restaurant. I opened the door and got in. He lit a cigarette and looked at the deserted and somewhat dilapidated restaurant, feeling a bit sympathetic. "Business is bad. What kind of food do you have? I'll come by next time," I vaguely responded. "It's fine, no need to make a special trip. Let's go, officer." Little did he know, this seemingly deserted restaurant was the hope for many to survive. Vince did not comment further. My parents' house, left to me, was close to my grandmother's restaurant, just a half-hour drive away. As soon as the car stopped, I heard sharp curses from the front door. "This house is ours. What right do you have to make us move?" In front of the small villa were about a dozen relatives, armed with shovels and sticks, angrily blocking the house. A group of people in suits, likely lawyers, said emotionlessly, "The property deed is in Kevin's name, and after their death, the primary heir Stella has the right to inherit this house. You have no right to it." "Nonsense. Who are you to dictate our family matters? If you're capable, let Stella say it herself." "Stella is my niece. She said she'd give us the house." "Damn Stella, a jinx. We took her in despite her being cursed, and she promised us the house. Now to take it back. She's a beast." I stepped out of the car with a stern face. "Really, Aunt, when did I say I'd give you the house?" Seeing me, both sides fell silent for a moment. The next second, my aunt pointed at my nose and scolded, "You jinx, you still have the face to show up. What, isn't it the time when you begged me for a meal? Since you've eaten my food, this house is mine, and no one else can take it. I don't care about the law, we're staying right here today. Let's see who dares to enter." I looked at the cold, familiar faces before me. They were once my family. Now, they stand before me like monsters, with a brazen, confident look in their eyes. The law does not intimidate them. They're used to causing chaos in the town. They fought over land and stolen livestock with no one to stop them. What can I, an orphan, do against them? I didn't want to waste my words on them, so I turned to Vince. He promptly flashed his police badge and warned, "I am a police officer. If you continue this disturbance, don't blame me for arresting you for disrupting public order." The crowd's expression shifted slightly. My uncle, trying to maintain his composure, scoffed, "A police officer? How do we know if that's even real?" "Yeah. Since when does Stella know a cop? You didn't even come in a police car. We don't believe you, even if the police were indeed here." They weren't afraid. The local cops were ineffective, but Vince's demeanor turned icy. After a moment, he made a call. 10 minutes later, 2 police cars arrived. The town's police chief, sweating profusely, approached. "Officer Vince, for such a small matter, you could have just informed us instead of coming here yourself." Vince coldly pointed at my hostile relatives. "Can you handle it?" The chief nodded vigorously. "Of course." He then began directing the junior officers to disperse the crowd. I sneered as I watched his eager efforts. I had called the police before, but they always brushed me off. Now, with real police presence, my relatives glared at me viciously. Reluctantly, they left, muttering under their breath. With the help of a lawyer, I submitted the documents to transfer the property. I immediately contacted a real estate agent to list the house for sale. I have no family left in this world, and nothing here holds any sentimental value for me. My parents in heaven would understand. As I turned to leave, a pitiful voice called out from behind, "Sister, where are you going?" "Sis, our aunt and uncle may be greedy, but they are our only family left. Isn't this too harsh? What will you do in the future?" I looked at her coldly. "What future?" Yuki raised her chin slightly. "The house can only sell for 500,000 or 600,000 at most. What will you do when that money runs out? Without family, who will you rely on if someone bullies you?" I almost laughed out of anger. "Yuki, how can you even say that? After our parents died, they were the ones who bullied us the most. I took so many beatings to protect you. Not only do you not stand with me, but you also sided with them and even tried to marry me off to some old man. Do you even care?" Yuki bit her lip. "I was thinking of your best interest. What girl doesn't marry? Isn't marrying a wealthy man a good thing?" She approached to pull me. "Sis, please go apologize to them. The house is big enough for all of us to live together. Do you really want to be an orphan?" I shook off her hand and said coldly, "I used to think that way, but now I've realized that outside of them, the world is full of good people. We don't have to associate with those we disagree with." "Yuki, stop calling me sister from now on," I said before getting into the car. Seeing my upset expression, Vince did not offer any comforting words. Instead, he pulled out a check from his wallet, 300,000, a grant from the national and scientific institutions. I took the hefty check, and my face immediately lit up with joy, instantly forgetting any gloomy emotions. "Thank you, Officer Vince, and thank you to our nation." Vince smiled and then dropped a bombshell. "Did you know, thanks to you, we've begun to develop a new type of satellite?" I stared at him in disbelief, puzzled. "Aren't satellites already a thing?" Vince shook his head, explaining cautiously, "It's different. This new satellite has a wider coverage and a greater impact. Initially, it was developed by me country, and other nations spent a fortune trying to buy it from them. Our country wanted to buy it too, but as soon as we expressed interest, we were turned down." I listened silently. Me country had always targeted our nation overtly and covertly. They rejected any advanced technology, inventions, and materials to our country and even incited other nations to isolate us. But now, things are looking up, Vince said with a grin, crow's feet appearing at the corners of his eyes. "Thanks to the energy from the crystals, not only did we develop it, but ours is even better than me country's. Now it's their turn to come to us." I laughed along. "That's really great news." Vince continued, "So, after the successful trials, they plan to award you the Huaxia National Science Medal. An academician will personally present it to you at a ceremony attended by many journalists. Can you handle that?" My eyes widened in disbelief. "Such good fortune." "Of course, no problem." 37. I returned home in high spirits. The nation valued these crystal cores greatly. They not only solved my problems but also rewarded me with money and honors. Naturally, I was even more motivated to earn resources for my country. I immediately started preparing ingredients diligently. However, there wasn't much left from last night's barbecue, and I hadn't shopped for new supplies today. I had to make do with some instant meals from the fridge. Just at 7 o'clock, the door opened. Mia and Ethan, as usual, placed a dozen white crystal cores on the cash register but hadn't yet managed to tidy up the tables and chairs. The restaurant's door chime rang eagerly. The fairy shopkeeper, "Good evening, you're so punctual. I just came to try my luck. Didn't expect you'd actually be open. What's on the menu tonight? I've been looking forward to it since this afternoon. I'm starving. I thought you guys were just bragging back at the base, but there really is a restaurant here. Is there really barbecue? The kind that sizzles with heat and is greasy?" I shook my head. "No barbecue today." Those who wanted barbecue seemed disappointed, but others said, "Forget the barbecue. Any food will do. I'm not picky." I haven't eaten anything in over 20 years, even if it's spoiled, I could eat it. Come on, I thought there was going to be barbecue. Without it, isn't that fraud? Exactly, I want barbecue. The others bragged so much about yesterday, why should they eat and not us? If you don't serve us barbecue, we'll smash up this lousy place. Mia and Ethan immediately stepped in front of me, no causing trouble. Who let this brat in? Get out of here, shouted an irritated patron. Other customers also stood up, glaring at them intently. In the next second, a flash of white light appeared, and the three of them vanished without a trace, leaving the remaining people shocked, their eyes wide open. After a moment, one of them said admiringly, "The owner is incredible. Was that some kind of magic? I told you, anyone who can manage to run a restaurant and provide food during the apocalypse can't be simple." "We better just listen to the fairy-like owner," another chimed in. "Exactly, fairy owner, we're not picky, we'll happily eat whatever you serve." They then dutifully handed over 10 white crystal cores to the front desk and obediently sat down at the tables to wait for their meal. After my renovations, the restaurant now seats 30 to 40 people. It wasn't long before it was full. Everyone was eagerly awaiting their food, swallowing saliva continuously, their stomachs growling audibly. An idea struck me. I opened the fridge and took out several bags of frozen dumplings, wontons, and sweet rice balls. Then, I put a pot of water on to boil and sent Mia to take the customers' orders. "What? Dumplings, and they're meat-filled," exclaimed a customer. "Holy crap. I want some. It's been years since I've had meat. Just thinking about it makes my mouth water." "I'll have the wontons," another said. "Are the rice balls filled with black sesame? I like sweet stuff. I'll have those," another decided. The quick meals were ready soon. Within minutes, everything was cooked and served. I walked out of the kitchen only to find that a long line had formed outside the restaurant at some point. The people standing in the cold dark wind as if they didn't feel the chill at all. They craned their necks, eyes filled with longing, looking at the warm glow emanating from the small restaurant. A fire-powered ability user had set up a bonfire, while other ability users cleared away zombies. Everyone lined up in an orderly fashion, even chatting and laughing together, a stark contrast to the gloomy resentment of before. After all, with good food, there comes hope. Who would want to cause trouble? They were all eager to behave and get their meal as soon as possible. However, there were still some at the back of the line who were skeptical. Is there really food? It's been so long, surely it's all moldy and rotten by now. I wonder if it's even edible. Holy smokes, you guys, look, someone shouted. The restaurant door was transparent, and through the gaps, they could clearly see the customers inside, enjoying their steaming hot bowls heartily. Upon closer inspection, they could indeed see dumplings, wontons, and even sweet rice balls. Ah, I believe it now. I'm so hungry. When will it be my turn? I don't care, even if I don't get in today. I'm coming back tomorrow to line up, and the day after that too. I'll get my turn eventually. With so many ability users gathered here together, everyone, I'm not worried about safety at all, remarked a guest inside. Overwhelmed with joy, the guests heartily devoured their food, soup and all. The dumplings were plump and juicy, bursting with savory meat juice at each bite. The wontons, with their thin skins and generous fillings, offered a deliciously salty taste and a chewy texture. The sweet rice balls oozed sesame filling that warmed the soul upon tasting. "This is delicious, truly fresh cuisine," one exclaimed. "Eating this in the freezing cold is just amazing. I have 3 rice balls left. Can I trade them for 3 of your dumplings? Can I swap half a bowl of wontons for half of your rice balls? Great, let's swap so we can taste all 3 varieties." Surviving in a post-apocalyptic world, they had even eaten dirt. Having real food was more than enough, and they licked their bowls clean, eating until they were sweating and teary-eyed from delight. "Amazing. This is incredible, owner. You're like a living deity, managing to procure fresh food even after so long since the apocalypse. And all for just 10 crystal nuclei per meal. As long as your restaurant is open, I'll definitely come every day." They wanted to continue showering me with praises, but turning around, they saw a long line forming at the door. Frightened by the crowd, they quickly made their goodbyes to make room for others. Mia and Ethan hurried to clear the tables and wash the dishes as the next wave of customers eagerly rushed in. With so many people, just boiling dumplings and wontons wasn't enough. I fired up the air fryer for some fried food and microwaved some pre-made burgers. Then, I pulled out a crate of canned cola and addressed the queue outside. Tonight's menu includes boiled wontons, dumplings, and rice balls, as well as fried chicken, burgers, and cola. Just hand your crystal nuclei to Mia and Ethan, sign up, and choose. If you're having boiled food, please take a seat. If you're having fried food, feel free to stand. Try to stay inside the restaurant. It's cold out. The boiled dishes were served in generous portions, while the fried food included a burger, 2 chicken legs, and a cola. It was enough to fill up those with smaller appetites and satisfy most of those with larger ones. Upon hearing this, the crowd buzzed with excitement. The owner is truly a merciful savior, thinking of us. What, burgers, fried chicken, and cola too? I loved these when I was about 7 or 8, but my parents wouldn't let me have them. Then the apocalypse came. And you can't imagine how upset I was. It's so cold, I want some piping hot wontons. I'll have the fried chicken, crunchy and delicious, it gets my adrenaline pumping, and pack some for my son too, he's never tried it and shouldn't miss out. I'll also have some dumplings and pack 2 fried chicken burger meals for my child. What, we can take away? Then I want that too. Let's skip packing the boiled food. It'll just get mushy and spoil the taste, wasting the ferry owner's ingredients. Let's pack the fried stuff and have a fire user heat it up. We get to enjoy a wonderful meal again. Does this mean as long as the restaurant is here, we won't have to drink nutrient solutions anymore? Nonsense. Those nutrient solutions are expensive and taste awful. If there's good food available, who would want to drink them? They eagerly handed over their crystal cores, then, very conscientiously, they either stood or sat, drooling. They stared longingly at the kitchen. It was past 10 at night when Luna walked into the shop, her face a picture of shock. Oh my god, it's finally my turn, fairy sister, you wouldn't believe how long the line outside is. I checked, and it's not just people from our base, folks from the Kite base 5 kilometers away and the Dawn base 10 kilometers out are here too. I have no idea where they got the news from. In the restaurant, there were people from other bases as well. One of them was devouring dumplings, occasionally lifting his head from his bowl, his eyes brimming with tears of gratitude. I have a relative at your base, and he mentioned having barbecue. I didn't believe him at first, then he bet me 100 white crystal cores, so I followed him here. Seeing such a long queue, I thought at best the food would be a bit off, but to my surprise, everything's fresh. Yes, exactly. I heard about it from someone too and thought I'd try my luck. After all, nutrient solutions are so expensive, and I can barely afford them anymore. I heard a meal only costs 10 white crystal cores, and I thought even biscuits would do, but to actually get a decent meal is incredible, and it's not just tasty, it's filling too. I used to be alive but without food or fun, and facing those disgusting zombies every day. I felt like I'd rather be dead. Now that I can enjoy good food again, I instantly feel motivated to keep living and fighting zombies. Good food really can heal the soul. I'm going to tell all my friends about this tonight, though it means more people might come, and we might have to wait longer. As long as it gives everyone hope to keep living, the wait is worth it. They happily continued eating and chatting, their expressions were relaxed, and their spirits were lifted, almost as if they were back in the pre-apocalyptic days. It had been a long time since they'd felt this carefree. Curious, I asked them, I've been wanting to ask, why is everyone so well behaved here? Everyone queues up so orderly and finds their seats according to the rules. I've been running this place for a while, though I've encountered troublemakers. Compared to the apocalyptic world, there are actually fewer difficult customers here. Everyone quickly responded with a smile. Before the apocalypse, indeed, there were many vicious and malevolent people, but such individuals, who harmed others and made enemies, naturally didn't survive long. Those of us who are still alive have faced life and death, not only cherishing our own lives, but also others. We all know that only by coming together, establishing and following rules, can we compete with zombies and monsters for survival resources in nature. If everyone were fighting among themselves, humanity would have been extinct by now. In more dangerous times, we need to stick together even more. 5 years before the apocalypse, the number of living humans drastically decreased, and we almost lost to the zombies. Fortunately, we came together just in time, and now our population is growing every year. We all believe that one day, humanity will completely defeat the zombies and reclaim our land. Then, enjoying a bowl of hot dumplings like this won't be just a dream. Besides, we all want to eat quickly and not cause trouble for you, so of course, we listen to you and follow the rules you set. Yes, and if anyone dares to break the rules, don't worry about him disrupting our mealtime. You won't need to intervene. Everyone here will help you stop him. That's how it was. I showed a relieved and touched smile. Even in these cruel end times, their humanity had not been eroded. Instead, it had brought them closer together. This is humanity. I was busy until 3 in the morning today. When the last pot of dumplings was finished, I looked at the endless line outside and apologized. Sorry, the ingredients prepared for today have sold out. I'll prepare more for tomorrow. Please come back then. Hearing this, although they were disappointed, they expressed understanding. It's okay, fairy shopkeeper. It's already wonderful that you can provide us with food. Yes, and besides, you've shown us that restaurants and gourmet food really exist. Now, our lives are filled with hope. Just having the chance to eat like this makes us happy. After they left, I called Luna and her friends over. I handed them the burgers, fried chicken, and colas I had saved for them. The restaurant was so busy today, and my 2 little helpers were overwhelmed. Thank goodness you were here to assist. Take these back with you to eat. The girls looked at each other, feeling somewhat embarrassed. There's no need, fairy sister, helping out here is much easier than fighting zombies. We just want everyone to be able to eat sooner. Really, these foods are so precious, you should keep them for yourself. How can we take them for nothing? I smiled. Keep them, otherwise, I'd be too embarrassed to ask you for a favor. Hearing this, Luna signaled them to accept. Then I continued, as you can see, the restaurant is doing very well now, and I expect it will continue like this, so I would like to hire you as waitresses. The job is for 8 hours in the evening, with the same salary as Mia and others, including 3 meals a day. What do you think? There were 6 girls there. They had been busy all day, serving dishes, clearing bowls, wiping tables, and washing dishes, all very quick and diligent. Upon hearing my offer, they looked utterly flattered. Really, fairy sister, can we really stay here and help out? And you'll provide 3 meals a day? My goodness. That's 3 meals a day. Fairy sister's food is so delicious, not to mention 3 meals. Even 1 meal would be enough for me. Actually, you don't have to give us so much. We're happy to help, and seeing everyone so satisfied makes us truly happy. I shook my head. That won't do. Although you are young, you are still half the workforce at home, so it's settled. They nodded vigorously, thanking me repeatedly. Then, clutching their food, they left with excited expressions and light steps. Back at home, they immediately reported the news to their parents. The Rising Sun base, being closest to the restaurant and with many affluent and available people visiting tonight, was well aware of the restaurant's existence. Therefore, Luna's family felt very proud. My daughter is doing well, only 15 or 16 years old, and she's already working for the fairy shopkeeper, and even getting 3 free meals a day. The shopkeeper is generous, providing plenty of food. If you can't finish it, you can bring some home, and they could bring some back for us to eat. Since you've received favor from the fairy-like shop owner, don't be lazy, work hard, you understand. The girls nodded emphatically. Meanwhile, in the conference room of the Asahi base leadership, the second-in-command spoke with a grave tone. I went to check it out today, though I didn't eat anything. There indeed exists such a restaurant. I've observed that people from other bases are also visiting, but not as many as from our base. The third-in-command, with a face full of sternness, slammed the table. Food will eventually run out. Instead of sharing with other bases, we should monopolize it, while people from other bases are still largely unaware, and given that the restaurant is closest to our base, it's better to take control of it sooner rather than later. However, the leader frowned and said, that's not acceptable. In these apocalyptic times, humanity should unite. Our nutrient solutions are expensive, and people are already complaining. If we lose the people's support and other bases take the opportunity to band together and overwhelm us, what then? The third-in-command scoffed. They don't have to buy our nutrient solutions if they think they're too expensive. Aren't we also bearing costs? Taking over the restaurant is for their own good too. We secure food, and they get to eat their fill. I don't believe the other bases, being so far away, would extend their reach here. Besides, it's just a bit of food. It won't be enough to provoke them into waging war. This time, the leader, stroking his chin, did not object. After sending Luna away, I said to Mia and Ethan, you two should get some sleep now. With their help, you'll only need to work until midnight. I'll clean up the storeroom and set up 2 sleeping mats for you. You'll sleep there from now on. The eyes of the 2 kids immediately reddened. Sister, thank you. After they went to sleep, I counted tonight's earnings. Surprisingly, there were over 5,000 white crystal nuclei. We struck it rich. Just then, the sound of a truck came from outside the restaurant. Looking up, I saw Luke getting down from the truck. Behind him was a robust woman with dark skin and bright eyes. Upon entering, the woman first looked around the restaurant with surprise and then extended her hand to me formally. Hello, shop owner. My name is Sherry, and I'm the leader of Hingshan base. I shook her hand, somewhat surprised that the leader of such a large base was a woman. She got straight to the point. After Luke returned, he told me about the restaurant. At first, I thought he was joking, but he actually brought back biscuits and bread from here, all with recent production dates. We've held several meetings recently, taking into account our base's population, resources, and strength, considering factors like weather and the environment. Today, we've finally prepared a list of supplies and have come to discuss it with you. She handed me a stack of documents. The paper was a bit old, but still clean, and the writing was neat. The supply list was very detailed. It included mineral water and various functional beverages, even alcohol. The food was mostly easy-to-store items like compressed biscuits, bread, and grains. There were even clothes and bedding listed. Sherry explained, "These items are based on our current survival needs, for clothing and other goods. If there's anything you can't provide, you can cross it out." They had quite a discussion about my presence. Eventually, they concluded that most likely, I had inherited a space. This space contained a large stash of supplies accumulated before the apocalypse. "I have wealth enough to last me 10 lifetimes, that's why I can afford to spend so recklessly." They even speculated that my space must contain everyday items, otherwise, the restaurant wouldn't be so clean. I changed my clothes daily, and even the furniture and kitchenware seem brand new, though it sounds like something out of a doomsday stockpiling novel. Now that the apocalypse has happened, what isn't possible? I carefully reviewed the list and then said, "Some of these items might not be available immediately. Let's do this. I can provide the easier items for me in 3 days, and for the rest, you can come back in 7 days. If I have them by then, they're yours. If not, then never mind." Sherry almost laughed. She thought I was just pretending to have a hard time to avoid revealing my space, but after all, they were the ones in need. She nodded agreeably. "All right, thank you. As for the price we've offered, Luke, bring it over." Upon hearing this, Luke pulled out a metal box from his cold weather gear. Sherry took it and opened the box. Inside, 2 shimmering gold cores made me squint. I had received yellow-grade cores recently. Gold and yellow might look similar in color, but these gold cores were plump, round, and dazzlingly bright. The energy inside them was abundant, almost like flowing liquid. At 6 o'clock sharp, Mia and Ethan came out. They just caught this scene. Both of them gasped, "My God, are those gold cores? I've never seen a gold core in my life." I quietly asked them, "Are these rare?" Ethan replied, "Extremely rare. It's said that there are fewer than 1,000 gold cores in the entire apocalypse. That valuable." I couldn't help but express my surprise. Sherry burst out laughing. "This is our first cooperation, and this is the sincerity of Hinshan Base. If you need anything in the future, just let us know, and we'll do our best to accommodate you." I smiled broadly. "Great, great." With the deal settled and dawn approaching, I said to her and Luke, "Since you're here, have breakfast before you go." We were about to eat anyway. I cooked them each 2 packets of instant noodles. I even added fried eggs and sausages. Sherry looked at the steaming noodles with surprise and took a deep breath. This is the flavor I thought I'd never taste again after the apocalypse. Boiled noodles are more chewy and springy than soaked ones. The fried noodles mixed with the broth, coating each strand perfectly. Taking a slurp, all taste buds were awakened. Not only is the food delicious, but the owner's cooking is exceptional. No wonder there was such a long queue when we came last night. Having a bowl of noodles and a sip of hot soup here satisfies more than anything. The others nodded in agreement. Indeed, Luke had been munching on biscuits at the base these days, though they were much better than the previous grainy nutrient solutions, but he still missed the food made by the owner. Even simple noodles brought him immense satisfaction. As for Mia and Ethan, that goes without saying. They've been enjoying delicious food and drinks here. Supposedly they came to work, but in reality, they ate well and slept warm. Their complexions improved, and their cheeks grew rounder after a hearty meal. I sent the 4 on their way. Then, I prepared to place orders, not only for tonight's ingredients, but also a large order from Sherry. Fortunately, all the cookies, breads, and candies Sherry wanted could be easily purchased online in any quantity needed. I successfully placed the order, and the delivery would arrive within 3 days, which was very reassuring. However, deciding on the restaurant's menu was more challenging. Cooking dumplings, instant noodles, or frying chicken burgers was just too time-consuming, and I couldn't let anyone help in the kitchen. Suddenly, I had a bright idea. Since I was already using semi-prepared foods, why not go all the way with it? So, I immediately ordered various buns, steamed bread, and pre-cooked dishes like braised pork, curry chicken, and fried eggs from Sam's. The buns and steamed bread just needed to be steamed in a large pot, all at once. The pre-cooked dishes could be heated in the microwave for a few minutes and they'd be just like freshly made. Once the food was ready, I went to sleep contentedly. In the afternoon, upon waking up, I started preparing the pre-cooked meals. I set up 2 3-tier steamers, one for buns and another for steamed bread. I also filled 4 rice cookers to the brim with rice. Next, I poured the pre-cooked fried eggs into an air fryer. Then, I stir-fried all the braised pork in a large pot. The curry chicken was all mixed together and heated in the microwave. Considering the shortage of plates and the hassle of washing up, I had bought disposable lunch boxes and chopsticks earlier in the day, 1 box for the dishes, another for the rice, accompanied by a bottle of cola. If there were seats available in the restaurant, customers could sit and eat. Otherwise, they could easily take their meals to go, which was both convenient and effortless. Simply perfect. In the dead of winter, the days were shorter than the nights. At 6:59 p.m., as the world outside was enveloped in darkness, those queuing outside the restaurant at the stroke of 7 p.m. discovered something magical. The previously dim and indistinct building, cold and silent as the apocalypse itself, suddenly radiated a warm light. It was as if it had come to life. Their eyes widened in disbelief, and their spirits warmed up along with the little restaurant. I opened the door, and the wind chimes jingled. Luna and Mia, among others, walked in and greeted me. "Good evening, fairy sister, we're here to help. What's delicious today? I think I smell something sweet." I couldn't help but laugh. "You have keen noses. Today I've steamed sweet red bean and milk-flavored buns, and I have buns with either cabbage or pork fillings. Oh, and there are meal boxes too. What would you like to eat?" As I spoke, I handed out portions of food to each of them. The milk-flavored red bean buns were soft and pale, breaking open to release a rich, sweet aroma. The buns had thin skins and generous fillings, with the meat buns even glistening under the warm yellow light. They savored their food, almost wanting to lick their fingers. The people queuing outside stretched their necks. "When are they opening? What's on the menu today? Let me see. Looks like buns and steamed bread." "Buns? What kind of fillings?" "There's cabbage and pork." "Wow. Is it really meat?" I'm so hungry, I'm drooling. Please open up, I can't wait to eat." "Pork buns, I think I could eat 10 in one go." 5 minutes later, after the staff finished preparing dinner, I hung out the "open for business" sign. The very next moment, a crowd stormed in eagerly. "Quick, fairy shop owner, I want 10 large meat buns and also pack 5 plain buns, 5 with cabbage filling, and 5 with meat filling for me to take home to my wife and kids." "I'll take 3 plain buns, 5 meat buns, 2 cabbage buns and pack another 10 meat buns. I would also like." They hurriedly placed the crystal cores on the cashier counter, fearing that if they were too late, everything would be sold out. Everyone ordered according to their appetites and the number of family members, making sure to pack food accordingly. They didn't want to waste any food and also worried that if they finished eating, others might not get a chance. I asked them to calm down and cleared my throat, announcing, "Today, our little shop has not only buns and dumplings, but also boxed meals. Boxed meals are 15 white crystal cores each, and buns are 2 white crystal cores each. Please purchase according to your appetite." As soon as I finished speaking, they exclaimed with surprise, "Boxed meals, can we take them away to eat? Does that mean we don't need to queue anymore?" I nodded. "Buns, dumplings, and such can all be taken away. I remember some of you have fire-type abilities. You could use that to heat them up. Alternatively, you can choose to wait in line and eat here in the warm, bright atmosphere of the restaurant, almost making it feel like the apocalypse never came. With the weather being so cold, it's definitely better to take away. The shop owner truly deserves to be called a fairy, just as kind-hearted as a bodhisattva, always considering our needs. I'm so touched. Now not only can I enjoy hot food, but my family can too when I take it home. Since that's the case, I'll pack up then. There are 3 of us at home, so packing 3 boxed meals and 30 buns isn't too much, right? I want to eat in the restaurant. I just love the atmosphere here. It's so warm and bright. It feels like the apocalypse hasn't even arrived." "Shop owner, what's in the boxed meals?" "Today even the buns have meat, so the boxed meals must have some too. Who cares? Just being able to eat rice and cabbage makes me feel like I could fly with joy." Amid their expectant gazes, I opened a boxed meal right there and smiled. Each boxed meal includes braised pork and curry potato chicken, plus a bottle of cola. Everyone's eyes focused on my hands. Inside the white boxed meal, the braised pork was thick with sauce, perfectly balanced with fat and lean, the sauce glossy and thick under the warm yellow lights, emitting a tempting sheen. Taking a bite, the oiliness of the meat and the savory taste of the sauce instantly filled the mouth. The curry was thick and sticky, perfect when mixed with rice, with the golden curry sauce enveloping each grain of rice, making it sticky and savory. And not to forget the cola. Taking a sip seemed to instantly activate the taste buds, sending adrenaline soaring. The crowd went wild. I never thought I'd have the chance to eat braised pork in the apocalypse. Let me have a bite, and I'd die happy. Oh my god, when will it be my turn? I feel like I'm drooling already. It was still not yet 3 o'clock when everything I had prepared sold out. Fortunately, today there were more people who bought boxed meals and buns, so they were well fed. Hence, although those who came later couldn't buy anything, seeing that their friends had packed some, they managed to get a few bites and weren't too disappointed. Mia and Ethan were sleeping in a storeroom I had cleared for them. In the small storeroom, 2 wooden beds were placed side by side. Each layered with 2 quilts, they curled up in bed, their cheeks flushed with sleep, and although it was a bit cramped, it was still more comfortable than sleeping slumped over a desk every day. The two of them even started snoring softly. After Luna and her friends packed up their things, they bid me farewell. They couldn't stay until 7 p.m., like Mia and Ethan, as they still had things to attend to at home. I expressed my understanding. As they were leaving, I divided up the food I had set aside for them. Each person received 2 boxed meals, 10 meat buns, and 10 steamed buns. Holding the still warm, heavy food, the eyes of the girls reddened. I quickly asked, "What's wrong?" Jocelyn, one of the girls, said, "Fairy sister, thank you for being so kind to us. At home, I was always the one lagging behind because I wasn't as capable as my brothers, although they never said anything. I felt very guilty inside, now that I have this job. Being able to bring food back to them makes me incredibly happy. In this apocalyptic world, women are often suppressed because of their physical constitution, but with your encouragement, we are slowly regaining our confidence." Hearing their words, I was quite moved. Who says women are inferior to men? The leader of the Himshan base is a woman, brave and decisive, and very strong. We should all learn from her. Luna and the others looked at each other, and finally, nodded heavily, yes. For the next 2 days, I continued to sell prefab boxed meals. No matter how many I prepared, they would sell out. The prefab meals, which were shunned in my world, became a delicacy that they couldn't praise enough. On the 3rd day, Luke brought the Himshan base's truck fleet over. I handed over the first batch of agreed-upon supplies to them. People lining up for food were amazed as they watched boxes of biscuits, bread, and other supplies being loaded onto the trucks. Wow, can it really be done like this? The shop owner's supplies are so abundant, and he's willing to give so much. You know, in the apocalypse, although crystals are important, they are not as crucial as food. The shop owner is really generous. If that's the case, should our base also consider purchasing supplies like this? No, I need to go back and discuss this with our leader. I'll go too. People interested hurried back to their bases, worried that if they were too late, the supplies would be bought up by other bases. After closing the shop in the morning, I continued to order the evening's ingredients at the supermarket and also purchased the remaining supplies online, in order not to attract too much attention. I didn't buy a lot of clothing or bedding, but the quantity was still considerable. Even the delivery and local courier drivers were puzzled. The restaurant business wasn't great. Why buy so much every day? Could it be preparing for a famine? Just when I was sound asleep, the phone rang. This was a new number I had switched to, so not many people had it, and I hadn't silenced it. The caller ID showed Vince, and I answered. "What's up, Officer Vince? Are you still sleeping?" Officer Vince's voice could hardly contain his excitement. It was infectious even through the phone screen. The new satellite experiment was a success. The National Joint Science Department is planning a commendation ceremony, scheduled for tomorrow in Kyoto, and we're both invited. My drowsiness instantly vanished. Really, that's great. When are we going? The successful trial of the new satellite marks a significant leap forward for our nation's technology. It's a major event, and I'm fortunate to be involved. I feel extremely honored, Vince also said with a smile. The plane leaves at 9 tomorrow morning. I'll pick you up at 7:30, so don't oversleep. During the evening shift, Luna noticed my joy. "Boss lady, what's got you so happy?" "A great joy," I replied thoughtfully. "You'd feel the same if you made an outstanding contribution to your base." To my surprise, a few of the girls sighed. We used to think the same, but as we grew older, we realized it wasn't quite like that. Curious, I asked, "What happened?" Luna lowered her voice. "Initially, our base's leader was good and worked for the common people, but ever since the leadership at the top changed, things have deteriorated. The price of nutrient fluids keeps rising, and they're getting more diluted. They claim all the crystal cores are being spent on research, but after all this time, they haven't produced anything significant, and they're just living it up every day. Many at our base are disgruntled, and in recent years, quite a few have even switched to other bases." I was shocked. Really? It seems everywhere has those selfish, pleasure-seeking capitalists. Why haven't you switched bases? The girls replied glumly. "We'd like to, but other bases have their requirements, and only my 2 brothers are combat-capable. Switching bases means starting all over again. Besides, we've been here so long. We're used to how things work here. Switching bases now, who knows what it would be like?" I disagreed. Sunk cost shouldn't factor into major decisions. Things are already so bad. Breaking away might actually offer a new path. They had never been to school. All their knowledge came from their parents. This was the first time they'd heard such a novel idea, and, realizing its merit, they nodded in surprise. "I get it now. It's just like you, fairy sister, to know so much." I scratched my head, feeling a bit embarrassed. It's a pity Though I had been admitted to Kyoto Normal University, I was inexplicably expelled because of Scarlett's father's close relationship with the dean. I still haven't gotten over that. By 3 o'clock, all the boxed lunches were sold out. After seeing them off, I returned to my little room to rest. Mia and Ethan woke up after 6 and conscientiously ate the bread and milk I had left on the dining table, taking the biscuits I prepared for them as they left. At 7 in the morning, I was woken up by my alarm. After getting ready, Vince's car arrived right at the restaurant's doorstep. I haven't eaten yet, and there's still a TV show on. Cook us some noodles, and let's eat together before we go. He said this and was about to scan the QR code to pay. I quickly stopped him. No, don't bother paying. I initially wanted to suggest he eat somewhere else, as all I had were pre-prepared meals. But worried about delaying, I ended up cooking him a pack of frozen dumplings. After serving, Vince commented wryly, "No wonder your business isn't booming." I rolled my eyes discreetly. Oh, the irony of not realizing the blessings one already has. Here I was, complaining about frozen dumplings. Little did I know that in a post-apocalyptic world, even a plain bun could bring tears of joy to people. At 11 in the morning, after sleeping for 2 hours on the plane, I arrived in Kyoto. After dropping my things at the hotel, Vince immediately whisked me off to the conference room. The awards ceremony was quite a grand affair, including myself. There were more than 80 people being honored. Most of them were researchers, technicians, or scholars and bigwigs from various fields, but there was me. I hadn't even obtained my bachelor's degree. I couldn't help but feel somewhat embarrassed. There were a lot of journalists at the event. Every time someone went on stage, they snapped photos frantically. After all, these were the nation's pillars, the real movers and shakers. Capturing a photo was a prize in itself. Then they saw me, a fresh-faced young woman. I looked timid, clearly a first-timer at such an event. The journalists quickly sensed a story. The cameras immediately pointed at me. The vice president of the National Academy of Sciences hosted the event. When it was my turn, he cleared his throat and said, this time, the successful development of the XT-2033 satellite was largely due to one person. She discovered and provided a crucial energy source that helped us overcome major material challenges. Therefore, the Chinese Academy of Sciences has decided to award her the highest honor in technology, the Stellar Medal. She is Stella. Thunderous applause erupted in the hall. All eyes were on me. Vince nudged me, nervously swallowing. I blushed and stood up. The walk from my seat to the stage felt incredibly long as I walked with my chest out and head held high, with each step I took. The flashes from the cameras grew brighter. The journalists murmured incredulously, "She's that impressive." I thought she was just some bigwig's daughter attending in his place. To think that the new energy source crucial for our satellite was found by her, she must be really talented. Which school is she from? I envy the school able to nurture such talent. The principal must be beaming with pride. Many university presidents, including the president of Kyoto Normal University, were also invited to today's meeting. He watched the familiar girl on the award stage, his mouth agape as if he could fit 2 eggs in it. After a long moment, he said in disbelief, "Is that Stella?" As a president, he didn't need to remember every student. It was just that he had been approached by the daughter of a friend, pleading with him to personally expel her. The other university presidents, seeing his reaction, asked curiously, "Do you know her? Could she be from your school? This girl is incredible. She discovered a special energy source that many physicists and chemists have sought their entire lives, and she's the only one who has access to this resource. She could live comfortably and have a promising future just based on this resource alone." The president forced an awkward smile and said, "Yes, that's right." He made a mental note. Once the awards ceremony was over, he definitely needed to invite me back to the school. With such a talent, his school could surely reach new heights. After I finished my acceptance speech, I stepped down from the stage. Immediately, a bunch of journalists with their cameras bombarded me. As I was answering their questions, someone suddenly tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around with a smile, only to meet the president's forced, grimacing face. My smile instantly collapsed. "Stella, why didn't you mention your capabilities earlier? We had some misunderstandings before. When can you bring your documents to school so I can reinstate your enrollment?" I replied expressionlessly, "No need." The memory of his arrogant demeanor when he expelled me was still vivid in my mind. Even if he were to beg me on his knees now, I would never go back. The principal didn't expect that in the presence of so many reporters and celebrities, I would give him no face at all. He lowered his voice and whispered in my ear, "Honestly, it was my friend who approached me and I believed his side of the story. Don't blame me for this. Besides, you're just a year away from graduating. Wouldn't you regret losing your degree?" Of course, I would regret it, but my integrity mattered more. I coldly asked, "Oh really, which friend is this?" It was Scarlett's father. "He told me that you were of bad character, bullying his daughter at school, which led me to expel you. She said I bullied her. Did she have any proof? Did you even investigate before expelling me so hastily?" He stumbled over his words. I pulled out my phone, sending one copy to the reporters and another to the National Oversight Authorities. "Please ensure a thorough investigation to clear my name." The atmosphere turned serious instantly. "Rest assured, we will not let a talented individual who brings honor to our country suffer any injustice." Seeing this, the principal's face looked worse than if he had swallowed a fly. How can you record this? That's illegal," he protested, but was quickly pushed aside by others. Many extended their offers to me. "Hello, Stella. I am the principal of Kyoto University of Technology, and I invite you to join our school. I represent Kyoto National Defense University, and we are in need of talented individuals like you. I'm from Kyoto University of Electronic Science and Technology, looking forward to your exchange at our school." After the meeting, I was invited by the vice president of the research institute to visit their lab. He pointed to the grand architectural inventions. "These are what we are currently developing. Materials for construction that can strengthen foundations to withstand at least a magnitude 4 earthquake, and this material, if successfully integrated with the minerals from the crystals, could reinforce our weapons." He became more excited as he spoke, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "With enough crystals, integrating their energy into various materials, our military strength, architectural standards, and scientific achievements will surely far exceed other nations and truly make us a world leader." His words stirred my heart. "All this is thanks to you, Stella. You have made an extraordinary contribution to our nation's scientific endeavors, helping our various fields to advance significantly." I modestly scratched my head. "It's not that impressive." After the visit, I handed over the crystal cores I had obtained over the days. To me, these crystal cores were commonplace, but they elicited waves of amazed exclamations from them, especially when they saw the 2 glittering golden cores. "What is this? The energy contained within is so intense. I can feel it just by looking, far more intense than any we've seen before. Stella, you truly are the pride of our nation, a great hero. I must award you the highest scientific honor and apply for additional grants for you." The grant was quickly approved. Looking at the sudden addition of 5 million in my account, my emotions were mixed. I had never imagined that one day I would become a pillar of the nation. Not only do they receive national awards, but they also bring glory to the country, becoming a highly sought-after asset in their hands. With a weighty bank card in my pocket and excitement in my heart, I turned down Vince's dinner invitation 3 times this afternoon and boarded the plane home. Just kidding, in my little restaurant. There are indeed real big sponsors eagerly waiting. Meanwhile, in Qingshui town, after seeing the news, the town mayor, with banners and flags in hand, made a beeline for my uncle's house with gongs and drums. Hearing the commotion, my uncle's family hurriedly came out to greet them. The mayor's face was so crinkled with smiles it almost looked like a chrysanthemum. "Congratulations, congratulations, you've really raised a remarkable talent, truly an honor for Qingshui town." My uncle's family looked at each other in bewildered delight, but still graciously accepted the praise. After a good while of mutual flattery and pleasantries, the mayor finally hinted, "Where is our celebrity? Stella, she's at home, isn't she? We've specifically brought banners to congratulate her, and yet she hasn't come out to greet us." As soon as these words were spoken, the smiles on my uncle and aunt's faces instantly fell. Who did you say? Our big star? Surely you're here to compliment us because my eldest son got a government job, aren't you?" The mayor was at a loss for words. "What? It's Stella. She's now the darling of the nation." My uncle and the others turned pale as ghosts. The darling of the nation, Stella, the jinx who was known for bringing misfortune to her parents. They had thought that after driving Stella away, she would end up homeless and wandering, dying miserably like a stray dog, unclaimed. And here their son had just landed a government job, promising a bright future and a life of ease for them. At that moment, someone whispered the recent drama into the mayor's ear. His expression immediately changed. "How foolish of you, such a talented daughter, and you treated her like this. It looks like it's the end of the road for your family." If the leaders heard about this, their son's career in the government office would surely suffer. His future was ruined, and after my story spread, the little Western-style house that had hung on the market unsold for so long, suddenly became hot property. After several bids, it was finally purchased by a wealthy landlord from the village for 1 million. On another note, after an investigation by national investigators, they discovered that the principal had engaged in favoritism and abused his authority. The principal was dismissed. Scarlett, who was the real bully, was also expelled, and her father was thoroughly investigated inside and out. Eventually, Bribery was uncovered, leading to his company being sealed, of course. All these things I heard from Vince later. At this moment, after returning to my small restaurant, I took a short nap, then, as usual, I began preparing for the evening meal. As soon as it struck 7, night fell. I opened the door of the small restaurant with a smile, only to see Luna and Mia rush in with pale faces. "Fairy sister, we can't open tonight, hide with us first." I looked surprised and asked, "What's happening?" Just as I spoke, the sound of tat-tat-tat came from outside. I glanced curiously in that direction and saw an army paving the way, followed by over a dozen armored vehicles, and even tanks and artillery behind them. They slowly advanced towards me, finally stopping outside the restaurant. A burly man with a stern look sat in one of the armored vehicles and said threateningly, "You're the owner of this restaurant, right? I advise you to be smart and hand over all your supplies quickly to avoid us having to resort to force. Struggling is futile. Do you really think you can turn into a fairy and fly away under our firepower?" He glared at me provocatively. What nonsense about becoming a fairy. He didn't believe anyone shot could avoid death. The people waiting outside to eat spoke up angrily. "In these apocalyptic times, humanity should unite. The supplies belong to the owner. It's her kindness that she shares them. How can you forcibly take everything for yourself? By doing this, you're inciting a riot. Have you not considered that if you can take her supplies, other stronger bases might take yours? If everyone starts looting from each other, what chance does humanity have? Stop this now. We won't let you succeed." The burly man spat on the ground. "Bah, what are you to stop me? I knew you people prefer peaceful coexistence. That's why I can act so brazenly." He eyed the delicious braised pork and swallowed hard. I coldly met his gaze. "No, if you have the guts, come and take it." The man scoffed. "You refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Since that's how it is, don't blame me for not being courteous." With that, he commanded his troops to attack. Naturally, the people waiting in line to eat rose up to resist. The air was filled with various supernatural powers, creating a spectacular scene. However, how could human bodies withstand against heavy weaponry? Several were wounded. I told them, "Stop helping me and leave quickly. He can't do much to me." The restaurant had a protection mechanism. Even if the outside world was embroiled in chaos, it would remain unscathed. Luna, having witnessed my capabilities, also spoke up. "Yes, everyone should ensure their own safety. The owner is very capable. We need to trust her." Yet, the people gritted their teeth and shook their heads. "No, we promised as long as this small restaurant exists, we would protect it. Even if the owner is capable, we can't just do nothing. How can we let her fight alone? The more of us there are, the greater our strength. With so many of us, his ammunition will eventually run out. He can't defeat us." Even Mia and Ethan, 2 kids, kept using their powers to counter the attacks. Seeing this, tears streamed down my face. It was the first time so many people had protected me, so this is what it felt like to be guarded. Just then, another round of tat-tat-tat sounded nearby. Sherry, full of fighting spirit, shouted, "Don't be afraid, owner. We're here to help you. Think you're the only one with weapons. Come, let's see who's stronger." The burly man's face filled with shock. He had originally thought that this small restaurant, relying merely on its cuisine, I had only won over the hearts of some people, yet I never expected them to fight so fiercely for me. The strength of Sunrise Base certainly wasn't as formidable as Hinshan Base. They were thoroughly defeated, crumbling quickly in battle. Sherry, expressionless, wielded her supernatural powers, striking the man with a bolt of lightning. He was instantly charred inside and out, dead beyond any doubt. Finally, the war came to an end. Everyone looked visibly shaken. Sherry and the others stepped into the small diner and asked with concern, "Owner, are you all right?" I shook my head. "I'm fine, thank you. It's what we should do. We're not just protecting the diner, but also maintaining peace in the apocalypse, after all." Such incidents can easily stir people's hearts. Though they said that, I still felt deeply grateful, and my way of expressing thanks was to go on a shopping spree, preparing delicious food for them. Another night fell. I listened to the ding-dong sound of the wind chimes. In this frozen apocalypse, the pre-made meals that everyone once scorned had become highly sought after. I served an endless stream of guests, listening to their praises of delicious and their satisfied sighs. I felt utterly content. As long as my diner exists, I will continue to pass on this happiness, forever and ever. Owner, what are you daydreaming about? I want 2 bento boxes, and 5 pancakes. Snapping back to reality, I smiled and responded, "Sure."